Okay, we're good.
Welcome to It Is What It Is. I'm Jean.
I'm Sean Marie. We switched it up. Okay. That was
Made
take
sure
3.
you were paying attention to
Anyway.
it. Yeah.
Jean blew my mind. Before we talk about Ted Bundy, we must talk about teachers.
Here, I'll fact check
And
myself.
bless teachers. Dude, I am not even kidding you. I've been, quote unquote, homeschooling my 6-year-old. Not going well. I need her teacher. I need an adult. I need help.
You're like that meme of the angry dad that's bent over the child and said, I said 5 apples.
Yeah.
How many
dude,
is 5 apples?
My daughter refused. She's 6 years old. She refused to write a 5 the other day. She kept putting a 2. You guys, I'm not even kidding. By the third erase and asking her politely to write a fucking 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I almost lost my top because I was like, it's a 5. Like, legitly, it's not hard. It's a 5.
I was correct.
And you know how to do it.
I'm really sorry. Soft closure until
Yeah,
April
okay,
20th.
so we're screwed. I don't know what I have to do. I can't let you in my house because you might have the corona, but I need you to take my kid and risk it.
They're still doing the grab and go meals.
Ugh, God.
So you can still feed them for free. Thank you, schools. Anyways,
I guess.
How are you guys doing with this?
Hopefully everybody out there is not about to pull a Bundy, because, like, fucking Christ. I did get out of my house today for my depot shot, and that was super nice. Drove myself and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have a new vehicle that I haven't been able to drive since I hurt my foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's my husband's, I guess. It's really important that I say it's his and not mine. But he has my car.
What do you think?
I love it.
Do you like it?
It was nice.
Yeah? To go muddy?
No.
No?
It is raining now. No, it's so shitty out there that I was like, no. And then, like, okay,
it's
so
not shitty. It's
rainy.
March in Idaho.
Right.
Is
but
it tomorrow, April?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I felt bad because here's why I had to come rushing home immediately. Is because I haven't left my house since February. Okay? And I went and got my depot shot, like I said. So when you go into the building that I went into, they had to take my temperature and ask me a bunch of questions. It was crazy. I did the whole thing. I passed. I go get my depot shot. Well, when I was sitting in the waiting room, the 6 feet chairs are 6 feet apart or whatever, and there's this guy sitting there, and he's just minding his own fucking business in the world. And I can see his face is changing. It's like noticeably changing, and he's like trying not to clear his throat because he's like, shit. I'm going to clear my throat and everybody's going to freak out. And boy, was he right. He went, and I almost shit myself. I got so scared. I was like, no, I barely got outside. Not today. No. And I judged him so much that, like, I had to tell the nurse about it. Yeah. I got her laughing. She was on a roller coaster by the time I left that room. So you made
someone else's day.
Oh, I did. She even thanked me because she's like, girl, I haven't had a laugh in a minute. Everything's been so damn serious. I was like, dude, I'm first day out. I'm first day in it. And I'm fucking terrified. So even Jean's cough, I know that shit's COPD, not corona.
And that's why I'm scared to go out. I guess I won't get jumped because nobody wants to touch me.
That's true.
That's my fear, is that I'll get jumped.
But you will get judged.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so this is going to be part 2 of Bundy. Yeah. Did you watch anything?
No.
Okay. You fail. Okay, so we've already covered 7. We have many to go. I'm not going to try, I won't try to make myself talk as long as I do.
Should we rename the first 7?
I am going to.
Okay.
You're going to.
Okay.
You can go all the way to 7. I numbered them very nicely there for you.
Okay. Well, and you were very excited about this.
I am still.
Such a good job.
I didn't put the little girl that they think he killed when he was a teenager on this list because these are the only ones that he's actually been
confirmed
of being.
Was he convicted of all of these?
No. Fuck no. No. He was only convicted for the ones in Florida, and we're not even there yet.
Oh.
He is only responsible for this page. This from 1978. Those are the only ones he's ever been charged for.
And then there was more than all this.
Yeah. Well, he did get a kidnapping charge for the one who got away, but we haven't gotten to her yet.
Jesus Lord.
But yeah, okay. So go ahead and do 1 through 7 on that and stop at Hawkins.
Sure.
Hawkins.
All right, 1974 Ted Bundy victims. Number 1, January 4th.
Yeah.
Caryn Sparks. She was 18 years old. February 1st, Linda Healy, 21. Third victim was March 12th. Donna Manson. She was 19. Wow. That's so sad. They're all so young.
Mm-hmm. And Caryn Sparks did not die.
Yeah. So she survived.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. April 17th, Susan Rancourt, 18 years old. May 6th was Roberta Parks, 22 years old. June 1st was Brenda Ball, 22. And June 11th was Georgianne Hawkins, 18 years old. And that's the 7 victims we talked about.
Yeah. And now we're going to go to July. So June to July, and we're going to go to July 14th, and we're going to go to the Lake Sammamish. In Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this in broad daylight in front of 40,000 people were there that day when this happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's insane. So, we'll start with Janice first. Janice Ott was 23 years old. She was 5 foot and 100 pounds. I don't know why that's important, but everybody says it is.
So she's teeny.
She's so small.
Yeah. She's shorter than I am.
Yes, and she was a very young-looking 23, they said. And even her pictures, like, you can tell. So, she was blonde hair, long, and she had green-gray eyes. They're really pretty.
Oh.
She worked as a probation caseworker for King County's youth in Seattle. So, she was a probation officer for kids in Seattle. And was educated in psychology and antisocial personality. So that was her background.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this happened to her is super, 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 super sad.
Because she went to college to learn about that stuff.
To learn about those type of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she felt that with her experience and kindness, she could help others find a special way in life and help them with their guidance. So that's why she chose her occupation. She was newlywed for only a year and a half. So that's super sad.
Oh.
Yeah. So the job that she worked for in Washington, being that probation officer, she had to leave behind her husband in Riverside, California. And, like, on the day of her disappearance, she was super bummed and, like, really missing her husband, they said.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was super, super sad.
So he wasn't even in town?
No.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
and then she biked to Lake Sammamish. Witnesses said that she was seen talking to a man in a cast and that she was seen alive going away with him. And her body was found in a wooded area on Taylor Mountain with everybody else. So, and he confessed to that before his murder. So, she gets taken... What did I say?
Murder.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Before his execution. Whatever.
Sorry, honey.
I look at it differently, like I said. His execution.
That was your
sorry.
subconscious speaking there.
It really, truly was, because I didn't even think about it. His murder. Sorry. I guess I shouldn't say that he was murdered, even though I feel strongly. Anyway. So, that day, he takes her, and it's... In one of the movies that they do, that was in the 80s, I'll find out the name of the movie because it's honestly the only Ted Bundy movie I would ever recommend. Mm-hmm. And it was made in 1980-something. It's really good. It's way better than the Zac Efron one.
Okay.
Sorry. Zac Efron one was horrible. I don't like that movie at all.
One?
So, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll find out what exactly the name of it is. But anyway... It shows in that one, and he did say that he had found a shed type building out in the middle of nowhere, and she was unconscious and left there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went back to Lake Sammamish after already kidnapping
The other one?
well, not the other one, Janice.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went back. And then he kidnapped Denise Asland, 18 years old. And she was only 5'4". So all these girls are so little with dark hair and dark eyes. She was a student, so she was studying computer programming and worked part-time in an office.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going through night school, so she was paying through that. She had a boyfriend for 9 months. They were having a picnic that day in a park. That day at Lake Sammamish with another couple.
Mm-hmm.
She had. They were roasting hot dogs. The men that she was with fell asleep in the sun. It was a hot day. She walked to the bathroom at 4:30 and never came back. When her friends started to worry, they started to search for her. They could not find her at all. Some people remember her also talking to a man in a cast with the name of Ted. He introduced himself as his real name. He didn't give a fake name.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody he met, he said, "I'm Ted." So then it turned into this big, huge thing of where's Ted? Quotation marks. Ted.
Mm-hmm.
And then a sketch was put out of who this Ted character looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Liz sees this sketch
On the news?
in person, it was in the paper.
Oh.
And one of her friends brought it to her.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, "Go look at it." And she's like, "Oh, fuck." And she goes white, I guess. Everybody says it. She just goes white. And she's like, "That looks like my Ted."
Yeah.
When she reaches out to report him, they're like, "Ma'am, he's too old." And like, it's not that Ted. But thanks. Because she was like, "Wait, the guy has a bug?" And his was more of like a bronzy, I guess. And they described it as a tan colored bug. So they were like, "Okay, thanks. We have it. We'll write him down."
Mm-hmm.
And his name did get written down along with hundreds others.
Yeah, because they had a tip line
Yeah.
for sure.
And so she was like, "Okay, well, maybe it's not my Ted then."
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, maybe it's not
Great.
my
Now
Ted.
she feels bad for calling the cops.
Yeah, kinda.
Probably.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of tell that it bothered her, but at the same time, she was like, I don't know. She's like, things between us were just kind of weird. Things that started to click a little bit.
She obviously has calendars. So if
Right.
they're, anyways.
Okay, so now we're going to go to 15, and we're going to go into Colorado. And he admitted to all of these right before his execution, to his Colorado murders.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one was Caryn Campbell. She was 23 years old. She was a registered nurse from Farmington, Michigan. She was 5'4" with long brown hair. She was engaged to a cardiologist.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That's really impressive. Who was 9 years older than her. And he had 2 children, so she was almost a stepmother of 2.
Mm-hmm.
They had gone to Aspen for a medical seminar / vacay.
Mm-hmm.
Caryn had began to feel ill
Mm-hmm.
that day on January 12th and had an argument with her fiance about the date of their marriage. She wanted to marry soon, and he was in no hurry because this is his second marriage.
Yeah.
So they tiffed.
Yeah.
Because she was like, "Well, it's my first marriage. We can fucking do it Thursday." And he didn't want to. Then she thought she had the case of a slight flu. So she took the kids skiing and sightseeing while their dad was at the seminar. Later, they ate dinner together with friends and then returned to the inn where they were staying. They settled into the lodge, and then Caryn remembered a magazine she had left in their room. And she went back to the room to get the magazine. So they went to the lodge from the room.
Yeah.
The lodge is a separate area, just so everybody
just to
knows.
go chill and hang out.
Yeah,
and
that's just where you chill
out of the
at.
bedroom.
Yeah, so she went back to the room to get the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
After she had been gone for a while, her fiance went to find her. She wasn't in the room. She wasn't anywhere to be found. He searched for her frantically and soon called the cops because she had simply vanished into thin air. He had packed up the kids and flew home and kept waiting for a call from Caryn in California. Michigan.
Wait. He went home?
After some time, yes. It doesn't.
Okay.
He had children, though.
Yeah.
You can't just
hang out for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Aspen. I mean, how fucking expensive is that? No, dude, go home. Jesus Christ. So he went home to Michigan. Sorry. Waited for her call. And on February 18th, she was found on a snowbank off of Owl Creek Road, not far from the inn that they were at. She was in a blood-stained snowbank, nude. She was battered and cut, and she had been sexually assaulted, and he confessed to her murder, like I said, right before his execution. So, what Ted's doing at this time in his life is he is secretly killing them. Mm-hmm. What he's doing when he confesses to them is he is trying to get what they call bones for time. Mm-hmm. And he has reached out to Idaho, California, Utah, Oregon, Wyoming, Washington. He had reached out to all these police departments offering to confess to the crimes that he committed in order for his execution to be stopped. So that's where the information from these murders come from. I'll get into that more when we actually go to court and all that nonsense. We haven't gotten captured yet. So these ones are going to go pretty quick because nothing's stopping us.
Yeah.
So we're going to 16.
And all this time it's for work? All this traveling, what's his explanation to Liz?
Oh, he doesn't give one. A bunch of the times he would just stop talking to her. Like he would pick a fight with her and then just go. And then he would return a couple days later. He wasn't really big into like, this is where I'm going, honey boo child. Mm-hmm. That's not what he did. He was just like, I'll be back when I'm back.
Oh, it just seems like he traveled a long effing way a bunch of times.
He did. And he would go back and revisit these bodies too. It's insane. He would drive hours back to go revisit and spend time with them. And he was a necrophiliac.
Yeah.
And so everybody doesn't know what that means. He was into boning dead chicks. So. It's super gross. It's super gross. I think that's the worst part. But I truly believe that, like, when you pass, you pass. It's just a body then. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's super gross, and I don't feel disrespectful saying that.
Well, it is what it is. You didn't make it up.
Yeah, no.
You know,
so it's super fucking gross. Yeah, it wasn't my idea. It's super fucking nasty.
Yeah.
And that's like a big negative check for him, besides being a murderer.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I don't dig.
Oh, because to stalk the victims and watch them and wait for the perfect time and be able to...
So... Oh, and sorry, and she, like I said, it was the Wildwood Inn in Aspen, Colorado, is where she came up missing in 1996. And this is 1996, 1995. Areas. Okay, so Julie Cunningham was 26 years old. She was disappeared, kidnapped, reported missing on March 15th, 1975 in Vail, Colorado. Her body has never been found. She was, and I'm reading this, no one judge me. She was considered to be very attractive. She was a very nice woman. She worked in a sporting goods store while working part-time as a ski instructor. She had, a sad history with guys. That stuff never worked out well. Often fell for the quote-unquote wrong type. Only to be heard sometimes with the great old, it was great, I'll call you later line.
Yeah.
She got that a lot. So the week she disappeared, she had a heartbreak where we had broken up. She thought she had found the right one in Sun Valley. They went and had a weekend together, and he had no interest in a long-term relationship, which broke her heart because she wanted marriage and kids. So that's super sad. She was in the wrong atmosphere for finding a lasting relationship, so she moved back to Colorado.
Yeah.
Sad and depressed on March 15th. This is the day she goes missing. She talked to her mother for the last time on the telephone.
Oh, honey.
She described that she needed a break and was going to go leave for the local bar. She was going to go out to the bar, is what she tells her mom. She told her mom her roommate would be there. The roommate was there. She never arrived to the bar. She never made it to the bar. So thank God she at least got to talk to her mom for the last time.
Yeah.
It was super sad. And then, okay, oh wait, I just jumped ahead. And did 15. Haha. Sorry. Oh well. So,
that's all right.
Yeah.
It's 15?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I just jumped ahead. That was 15. I shouldn't have told you about Caryn yet. Or Julie, but I did. So, I did. But, it doesn't matter really though, because he still did those in the same area, because we're still in Utah and Colorado. So it doesn't really matter. It kind of does though, because I did skip over the one who got away, which is fine, because we will go and talk about her right now, and she's
awesome.
Well, we're not going to talk about her just yet.
Okay.
Because we got to talk about one more that I have to admit to being skipped over. And this is super sad, and I don't want to. Maybe that's why I jumped over hers, is because hers is sad.
Do you want me to read it?
She was a kid. She was just a kid.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to, this is hers. Right there.
Laura.
Yeah, you can go ahead and read her.
Okay. 17.
We'll repeat her name so everybody else can hear it.
Laura Amy. 17 years old. She disappeared October 31st, 1974. Out of Lehi, Utah. She was found November 7th, 1974 in Wasatch Mountains?
Wasatch, yeah, or something like that. It's a native mountain.
Is that in Washington?
Utah.
Okay, so Laura had stood nearly 6 feet tall and weighed 115 pounds. She felt very insecure of her awkward, bony appearance. She dropped out of high school and moved in with friends while working small jobs. She was referred to as a drifter looking for something to grasp in life. She talked to her parents daily, but wasn't missed until 4 days after Halloween. She had gone to a cafe on Halloween and, bored with the activity there, left around midnight and headed to a park. She was found a month later on a bank of a river in the Wasatch Mountains. Her face had been beaten beyond recognition, and she was nude. She'd been strangled and apparently beaten with an iron crowbar or pry bar. Wow. Like Melissa, she'd been sexually assaulted. She had been drinking just enough to be intoxicated, but not so much that she couldn't scream, run, or fight back. Bundy confessed all this before his murder.
Execution.
Oh my god!
Haha.
Well, all these are murders.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we have gone way out of order. I want everybody to know that. We have officially cut off the list. We have the list, so at the end I will do everybody in order, but right now I'm just saying toss it into the wind. So Because she told you guys like Melissa, so you guys haven't even heard what happened to her yet.
Oh.
She's Melissa Smith, and she was the daughter of the police chief.
Oh, honey.
In Midville, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a very, very cautious girl. She was born into a very small Mormon town. She was quiet. Her father worried about his kids and taught them to be self-aware. She had little fear in her tiny little community. She was only 5'3". She was super small. She had long, dark hair, parted in the middle. On October 18th, she had plans to attend a slumber party. She ended up walking to the local pizza parlor to meet up with a friend and her boyfriend. After this, she left her overnight clothes to go to a party, and she never made it home. And she never made it to that party either. The teenager who confirmed, the friends that they went and talked to said that like all the things that she planned to do, like she wasn't supposed to go to the party, she was supposed to go to the sleepover, but she went to the party. So that all that stuff had to come out, I guess. They don't know a bunch about her, so I don't want to be judged for this. I do know a bunch about her case, but not like exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because it is one of the ones he confessed to at the end. So do not judge me. Don't Utah people judge me. Because I'm pretty sure they know more about the story than I do.
Oh, well.
So, and I feel bad for that because they don't really give me much. Except for that she was found 9 days later, beaten and nude, far away from the small town that she was in.
Oh, wow.
Her head had been severely beaten with the crowbar, so that's where that came from.
Oh, honey.
And her body had, he went back and washed her.
Oh.
And bathed her. And stuff. So it was really weird. She was strangled and raped and sodomized. So that one's horrible. And so Nancy Wilcox also happened from Salt Lake City. She disappeared from the Holiday Inn near Salt Lake City on October 2nd. She was last seen in a VW Bug similar to his. She is more likely to be the first Utah victim. Is Nancy Wilcox. Bundy told detectives that he left her body alongside of Debbie Kent in the south part of Salt Lake City, but her body's never been recovered, and we haven't done Debbie Kent yet. So he just said that he put her with her, and they don't believe that to be true. Another one in Colorado was Shirley Robertson. She was 24 years old on July 1st from Golden, Colorado. She was hitchhiking for fun to state to state. She didn't show up for work on July 1st. Friends and family thought she had gone off and been on a whim again. She did argue with her boyfriend prior to her disappearance. No one had a funny feeling that she wasn't there for a while, so it took them a minute. The summer passed without a word, and then they realized that something was probably wrong with the 24-year-old and something had gone wrong with her. They learned that she had last seen all of her friends on June 1st and on July 1st. So everybody now realized that it's been a hot second since anybody had actually physically seen her. Before they didn't know. So that's why she was not reported missing.
Yeah.
Her body was found inside a mine by 2 mining students. Her cause of death was impossible to determine because of decomposition.
Oh, wow.
And he confessed to her murder right before. And then it goes into the Utah murders with Nancy being first, then Samantha Smith, and then Laura, and then Debbie Kent. And then, sorry, we're not to Debbie yet. Now we go to Carol.
Okay.
And Carol is our survivor.
Good.
She is, every time she tells her story, you'll get goosebumps. No matter what show you watch, no matter what it is, every time she tells her story, it's amazing. Okay. So, what happened to her on my sister's birthday? Well, my sister and my brother, on November 8th, 1947, in Salt Lake, Utah. It was a rainy day. 18-year-old Carol had left home about 6:30 p.m. Okay? She goes to the mall.
Yeah.
Because she's very adorable. Very adorable at 18 years old. So, she has long, blonde, long dark hair, pretty gorgeous eyes. She was living at home and working for the Mountain Bell Telephone Company.
Oh.
While at the mall, she had run into a cousin. They chit-chatted for a minute, and then
Sweet.
she went to go purchase some books. As she was looking through some books, a handsome dressed man approached her.
Did he have a cast?
No, he did not.
Oh.
He asked her, "Ma'am, did you park near Sears?" And she says, "Well, yes, I did." He says, "Is this your license plate number?" And he reads it off to her. She says, "Well, yes, it is." He says, "Great. Someone's been breaking into your car.
Oh, good.
Would you come with me so that you can take a look at your car and tell me if there's anything wrong?" Young and trusting, she says, "Sure."
She doesn't ask him who he is?
Well, he says he's a cop. He says he's Officer Rosalind. Sorry. So he says he's an officer of the law. So she says, okay. She assumed that he was as a security guard or an officer of some sort, because he obviously said, "Someone is breaking into your vehicle. Please come look."
With authority.
With authority.
Yeah.
So she followed him quietly out of the building and felt this kind of like hesitation. So she says, "Can I see some ID?" Yeah, give me some ID.
Her gut started
Because we walk
speaking.
out to a bug. And like where he says he needs to go, he goes up to a locked door. Or he's like, "Oh, come in here, and my partner has the guy in here." Just a smack. But that door is locked. So he's like, "Oh, they must have already gone down to the police station. You're going to have to roll with me." And so they ask for the whole thing.
I thought they were supposed to walk to her car.
Yeah. But when she asked for the ID, he like laughed, and it made her kind of feel dumb that she was like questioning the authority. So when they get to the car is when she looks in and she's like, "Well, nothing's happened." And that's when he's like, "Well, come with me to this building over here. Come do the paperwork.
Yeah.
Come see if you know the guy. Maybe you know the guy." And so they go to that building. Like I said, it was locked. Turns out it's the back door of a laundromat. It has
Nothing.
the door goes nowhere. Yeah, the door actually goes to a laundromat. So that's when he does the whole ruse of like, "Oh, my partner, darn him, took him to the station. He's at headquarters." And so when she gets into the Volkswagen and they get into that confined space is when she can start to smell the alcohol on his breath. And so she's like, "Hold up, wait a minute.
You're not effing... Yeah.
You're not who you claim to be." So when he told her to put her seatbelt on, she replied no. And she then was ready to jump the fuck out of the car. He had already driven off and was going he was going really fast. She realized they were heading away from the police station. And so she was like, hey, where the WTF are you going? So he pulls over, screeching the tires to a halt. So like we're pulling over dramatically. He tries to handcuff her. They're in a struggle. He gets it around one hand, and they're struggling, and he goes to put the handcuff around what he thinks is the other hand. It's the same hand.
Oh, okay.
So he put the handcuffs on one hand. And so she fucking bolts from the car.
Yeah.
She amazingly gets out of this car. He jumps out of the passenger side of the car. He had like a crowbar, she thinks, because she could feel it being like something swinging at the back of her head.
Yeah,
as
he was trying to get her.
Yeah. So she can feel all this. So she's in a panic, and she's running. And finally another vehicle comes, and she jumps into the vehicle with this old couple, and they take her to the police station where she makes her report. She is not able to make an ID from the photos or whatever. It's when he gets the lineup is when she's able to make her identification. But she made a good sketch. She remembered everything, but she survived.
Thank God for her fast feet.
Dude, she
trying to hit her head with a goddamn crowbar.
My God.
Can you imagine?
Dude. Yeah. Yeah. She did amazing. And she is the second living victim of Ted Bundy. The first in Utah.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, true.
A couple got away.
But unfortunately...
How many survived?
2. Only 2.
And so they had to be questioned by him.
At court.
Oh my God.
In Utah, yeah.
Oh
well, I don't think in Utah, I don't think, it was Florida that he got to question his own people. But,
oh, okay.
But this sadly happened that night. The one I'm going to tell you about next. And this one, as a mom, will break your heart when I tell you what her mom does.
Oh.
Anyway, so after 13 gets away, oh, and by the way, I want you to know that one of the things that broke my heart that Carol thought about is like she thought that she told herself she had to fight because if he killed her, her parents would never find her body.
Oh.
And to know that like that's one of the things that you think about. And she said not to sound, she says it's so cute too. She's like, not to sound cliche, but like legitly my life flashed before my fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Like it was like go time or die time. It's amazing. Despite the fact that she did survive, sadly that night he would hurt this woman forever anyway because of his following actions. I want everybody to realize that I do point out that he is a dick. Even though I said he's hot, he's still a douche.
No, as a master manipulator, psychopath, narcissist, everything.
So, Debbie Kent is 17 years old and in Bountiful, Utah. Her body has never been found. She was a pretty little girl with long brown hair, her hair parted in the middle. Her father was recovering from a heart attack the night of November 8th. He was feeling well enough to attend a school play.
Sweet.
With Debbie and her mother. They dropped her younger brother off at a local skating rink and went to the high school. Debbie called the skating rink to talk to her little brother and let them know the play wouldn't end until after 10. And then she went back to her seat. She offered to pick up her little brother while her parents stayed behind at the school and hurried away to the parking lot around 10:30 p.m. Several people who lived near the school later admitted into hearing 2 short, terrifying screams before 10:30 or 11. They described them as coming from someone who was mortally terrified. Then even walked outside and stared into the darkness, hoping to see no one ever saw a thing. Debbie's brother was waiting at the skating rink for a while as the crowds thinned. When the crowds were thinning at the high school, leaving her parents waiting until midnight until they were like, we have to walk home. Then they realized that their car was the only one sitting in the parking lot. Like as in their minds, they're thinking she's not here because she should be in front of the school. Yeah. And they thin out through the whole crowd, the parking lot's clearing or whatever as they're standing there. When they realize and they look up out into the parking lot, sits their car. And their car should not be there. So does everybody follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They immediately called the police who were familiar with another disappearance, Carol. The father told police that he had arrived at the play and when they got to the play, they saw a light-colored VW Bug going away from the school. A small handcuff key was found in that parking lot. That handcuff key they take to where Carol is. It unlocks her handcuffs.
Oh shit!
So they know that key, that person is the same person. Bam, bam. Nothing else ever turned up. Her family was heartbroken through Christmas and everything else. It was horrible. Along with Melissa Smith's family and Laura's families, like I said, he confessed right before his execution.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom keeps the front porch light on, and she says she will turn it off when Debbie comes home. Till this very day, her sweet mother keeps a light on for her child. And now she just wants the remains. She just wants something. But she, unfortunately, has never been given that. So, then Nancy Bird, and he, like, it's Beard. I call it Bird, but it's like Beard. So like, it's like fancy, but
French.
not fancy. Kind of. But she she disappeared on July 4th. He is never, this is a maybe victim, but I do want to tell you guys about them.
Mm-hmm.
What little I know. She disappeared, like I said, July 4th, 1975 from Layton, Utah. She's never been found. She disappeared from a gas station where she was working at. Part of her routine was working to establish, she liked to establish customer relations. I don't know why that was so hard for me to think of. But she was working hard at being a good person in life.
Mm-hmm.
And excelling and trying to exceed.
So she was nice to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Her workplace environment placed her pretty much at a medium to higher risk because she was alone at night in a gas station when she came up missing. So, and back then, Layton, even though it's still not that big today, was smaller, obviously, back in the day.
Yeah.
And we don't know about her, but it was just same time, felt right type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, they didn't have surveillance cameras back then, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Another maybe one is Debbie Smith, also 17 years old. She disappeared sometime in February 1996. There's not a lot of details. But just before going to the electric chair, he added that there may be a fifth Utah victim, and they believe it to be her.
Yeah. From the gas station.
Yeah. He did admit right before death to Sue Curtis, who was 15 years old, who disappeared June 28th, 1975 from Layton, Utah. Her body's never been found. That's it. And that her body was alongside the highway with the other girl.
Mm-hmm.
In Price, Utah, is where he said he disposed of her.
Mm.
So that. And then another one. Oh, now we're going into Oregon. Now these are the Oregon murders. This is, you say her name because I don't want to fuck that up.
Rita Lorraine Jolly.
Okay, I like your name. She disappeared June 1973 from Westland. I don't know where that is. I couldn't find anything about her, so I went and looked her up. If I could have found their original articles, I did copy and paste what their articles said. Mm-hmm. If Wikipedia had no information for them. So I did do like a little bit of side research on a couple of them. She left her residence on Howard Road in West Lynn, Oregon. She left at 7:15 p.m. on June 29th, 1973. She had planned to go for a walk and never came home. She was last seen by someone at believed to be 8:30 or 9 p.m., walking up a hill on Sunset Avenue. She was never seen or heard from again. Vicki Lynn Holler, from 24. She was 24 years old. She's also from Oregon. She disappeared August of 73. No details were last given except for on August 28th, 1973. Entering her car, a black 1965 Volkswagen Bug with Louisiana license plates saying GR7738, with running boards removed from the vehicle. in a parking lot on 8th Avenue and Washington Street. She was last seen leaving work at Bon Marché, which back in the day was Macy's. Well, not Macy's. Back in the day. Today it's Macy's.
Yeah.
Where she had been employed for 2 weeks. She was possibly headed home to her apartment that she shared with 5 other people on the 600 block of West 27th Avenue. She planned to meet up with friends that night to attend a party in the neighborhood. She had a habit of picking up hitchhikers because she moved from Louisiana the previous June to Oregon. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't accustomed to Oregon life. She was still nice and sweet Louisiana life. Mm-hmm. So, after
I certainly wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker in Louisiana. Are you kidding me? Down
well, fuck no. I think that's scarier than Oregon. But according to this, it wasn't. No, Jean, I don't know.
No, ma'am.
She moved up to Oregon after graduating college in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Her car and her purse have never, ever, ever been recovered. Poof. Okay.
Where in Oregon was this again? Eugene?
Hold on, I will tell you.
Damn it, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
It's 20. She has 20 pages here.
I
folks,
do.
Of research.
Yeah, Eugene.
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon.
See,
yes, ma'am.
Cliffy and gorgeous, and it's just baffling they haven't found it yet. 20 years later.
Yep. Well, and now we're gonna go. Well, we'll do the Vermont one. There's possibly, they think this one may be victim official number 2, but we can't say that.
Yeah.
So she might have been number 2 just because this was in 1971. So this is before his official killing starts in Vermont. What's her name?
Rita Caryn.
Yep. She's 24 years old. She was murdered July 19th, 1971 in Vermont. She was very pretty. She was shy with long dark hair. She taught 2nd grade and worked summers as a hotel maid. She spent most of her time working and helping handicapped children.
Sweet.
The hotel was next door to his unwed mother's home, Ted Bundy, where he was born. She was hoping to find a good man. She turned 24. She got her own apartment with one other girl. Then we found the apartment. Now we're on the hike for a good man. That summer was her goal that she wanted to get married and start having children. So that summer was a summer of love in her eyes. Mm-hmm. Her roommate and her friend left her alone in the apartment around 11:30 p.m. Her and her other friend, they leave her home alone. When they returned, they talked for a while, assuming that she was in her bedroom asleep.
Yeah.
When they walked into the bedroom, they found her bludgeoned, nude. So that's why they
killed her right then and there, huh?
In her bedroom.
Oh my God.
So and she was in her bedroom for a couple hours before her friends were like, well, maybe we should go check on her because we haven't seen her in a hot second. So, unfortunately. Okay, so now we're going to go to, before I go to Utah, Florida, I want to finish every other crime up here in our states.
Okay.
Up here.
Sure.
So we'll do Idaho and then we'll shoot down to Florida. So during Carol's, I want to go back to her before we do we'll do Idaho and then we'll do her court and then we'll travel on because that's how this leads to be.
Chain of events.
Yeah, chain of events happens. So the Idaho murders, there are 2 Idaho murders that he confessed to. The one he said he does not know her name. It was between Idaho and Washington. She was a hitchhiker. We don't even know if she was an Idaho native or anything, or if she was just hitchhiking through the state of Idaho and came across Bundy. We don't know.
Yeah.
This victim was from Idaho. She was from Pocatello, Idaho. Her name was Lynette Covert. She was 13 years old. She disappeared May 1975. She was last seen at her school on May 6th. She was last seen at the Alameda Junior High School on a lunch break.
In Pokey?
Yep. And never seen from again. Some people thought that she had ran away. I don't know why they always think that. But to the nearby Indian reservation, I guess, is what they had thought she had run away to.
Was there a cute guy
So
there
probably
that she
Fort
liked?
Hall. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. But he did say right before he died that he did do it, and his photo is in her packet. It's not a solved case, but his photo is in there saying that he did admit. He says that he took her back to his hotel in Pocatello, strangled her, drowned her in the bathtub, and dumped her body in the Snake River after he raped her from the school. So that's why he says her remains have never been found. And looking up this murder for her, because they didn't give a bunch of information, I don't know. Pocatello is shady to me. It led me on to more things I did not know. She is not the first girl to go missing back then from Pocatello. That young. Never heard about this shit a day in my life. And I used to pride myself on knowing like all of them. But in July of 1978, 12-year-old Tina Anderson, 12 years old, and 15-year-old Patricia Campbell, disappeared. Their bodies were found near what the fuck county is that?
Oneida County.
Oneida County in Idaho in October. And then 14-year-old Linda Smith disappeared in June 81, and her body was found in May 82. The last murder.
They didn't find that little girl for a year. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, and then a murder of 14-year-old Cindy Bringhurst, who disappeared in June, and her body was found months later in the south of Pocatello. All of these cases are unsolved. All of them.
I can't even imagine not having the closure of your baby.
5 girls in that age group disappear in Pocatello, and it's still unsolved. 5 babies, just...
Why did he jump from 17,
But they don't know...
18, 20s to 14, 15 babies?
I don't know.
In Idaho.
She was one of the youngest 3 of his victims. So, it's horrible. They say that he might be responsible, but they do not feel comfortable saying that Ted Bundy is responsible for the 5 that were already missing. Lynette was the youngest of 3 children, one of whom died before she was born, so the parents have already gone through a loss, and then this happens. She was born in Washington and then moved to Idaho in 1967.
Yeah.
And her parents lived on Fairbanks Street in Pocatello. She had a good relationship with her family. In 1975, she was a 7th grader. She was a good student. And she was considered to be a very normal preteen, although she did have some problems with school truancy. She is still, to this very day, listed as a missing person. So, yeah. To this very day.
I quietly wonder if they would have just given him life, how many more
Well, the thing
we would have
is,
found out.
the thing is his, well, I don't want to tell you yet.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you yet.
All right.
I can't.
Let's just be...
I'm sorry.
Wow.
So, I'm going to...
He's busy.
Dude, busiest dude in the world.
Did he... I guess I forgot. Did he just have a millionaire inheritance? What did this man do for
No, he
work?
just stole.
That's a lot of
He
fucking
stole
gas money.
He stole. That's what he did.
Okay.
credit cards and stuff like that. That was his hustle.
Oh.
In August 1975, he was arrested by the Utah Highway Patrol officer Bob Hayward.
Get it?
No,
okay.
In Granger. That is another Salt Lake City splice-off suburb. He observed Ted Bundy cruising a residential area in the pre-dawn hours. And when he went to turn on the lights, the blues, Ted Bundy fucking zoomed off.
Yeah.
So obviously you're guilty of something.
Yeah.
So when they stop his car, he looks over, does the flashlighty thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Left to right.
Where are you coming from?
Yeah, what you doing? Where you coming from? Who you be? And then he noticed that the passenger seat of the vehicle was removed. Odd.
Wow.
And it was placed on the rear seat.
Oh.
Why is your passenger seat on your back seat?
Was he adding a subwoofer maybe?
No one asks. And as he's pointing it in there, he also comes across some other disturbing artifacts.
Like a crowbar with blood on it?
Like a ski mask. A second mask fashioned from pantyhose was also found. A crowbar. Handcuffs. Trash bag. A coil of rope. One ice pick. And these were described to be I can't say that word. What is it? Robbery tools.
Yeah.
I won't say. You guys can't get me.
Burglary tools.
Yeah. He explained. He says, "Hey guys, calm down. The ski mask is for fucking skiing. Duh."
Okay, but all of these things
And
together...
and the handcuffs, I found them in a dumpster. And the rest were a combination of household items that I just had in my car. Mind your business. Even though they were like, didn't that DaRonch chick say she encountered a Bolt's bug of some sort?
Mm-hmm.
And that dude had, what? Handcuffs? Oh. And she felt the crowbar being, and he had what? Oh, okay. Let's look into this fool.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when they get the picture. I'm doing a clicky thingy to Jean like she fucking were playing Pictionary. Clicky camera. The picture.
Hairspray? What are you saying?
Hairspray. So they knew that from November back in 1974 that's what was happening here.
Uh-huh.
And that the suspect's name matched Bundy's name in the disappearance in December.
Oh.
So a phone call was made to search his apartment. In the apartment, when we get the A-OK to go into the apartment that he has in Utah, we find the guide to the Colorado ski resort with a check mark by the Wildwood Inn, where the Colorado lady came up missing from.
Yeah. So they're starting to link all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking they need to make some phone calls.
Yeah. They also found a advertisement for the Vermont High School play in Bountiful, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And a teacher in that school had seen a creepy guy roaming the halls of that school, and he was asking people to go outside and verify a car with him. Mm-hmm. And she said, "No, I'll find a guy to help you." And he was like, "Nah, I'm good." And she did notice that after she got up and walked away, that he also got up from the audience and walked away. So she did notice that, but in her mind at that time, she did not put the two together. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say that was noted.
They started to pay attention to shit.
So they didn't have enough to get him on because, like I said, they did the photo and they showed her, and she wasn't able to make a positive identification off of his photo lineup of photos that was shown. But she knew in her heart of hearts, if you get this guy in front of me,
oh no,
I will know who he is. Mm-hmm. Like, and she just, I can imagine knowing in your stomach that you know him, and then they show you pictures, and then, like, they obviously they think that he is in that group and you can't see his face. And you have to look at them and be like, no, please. Just like, get him in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, because sometimes pictures aren't as clear, and you don't want to point your finger and put somebody innocent away.
So yeah, she couldn't do that. So meanwhile, since they can't charge him with anything, they put him under 24-hour surveillance. Because they're like, this dude is a good lead to whatever. Something's not right with this dude. So let's just watch him. At that time, 2 detectives go back and fly back to Seattle and talk to Liz. That's when she says a year prior to Bundy even moving to Utah is when she started to she couldn't understand why there was like 2 houses, why we weren't living together, that we had medical supplies, and that he had admitted to that. And that he had clutches and purses and things like that she couldn't understand. But he said, remember when he went undercover for the governor thing? Mm-hmm. He would dress up as a woman.
Oh.
Then too. As like his like undercover things that he would do and he was so proud of. Mm-hmm. So she was just like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And that a meat cleaver he had that he never cooked with. And that there was additional weird objects that she also told them about surgical gloves. And an oriental knife in a wooden case that he kept in his glove compartment. And a sack full of women's clothes that he was suspected of, but he said he stole them, so she just thought that when he stole like from the laundromat or whatever, that these were just women's clothes that were in whatever it was he stole. Like, she didn't think it was creepy that he had women's clothes. So
part of his disguise.
Yeah.
She
had suspected, like I said, that he had stolen most of everything. When she confronted him over the news and over a TV and a stereo, he warned her not to tell anyone, and he said, I'll break your fucking neck if you tell anyone. She said Bundy became very, very, very upset when she considered cutting her hair because of everything going on. She was like, shit, do I need to cut my hair? Because it was long at the time. Mind you, she is talking years prior, so she's reliving to the officers. And so she says, when I mentioned cutting my hair back then, he fucking got mad. Like, super mad. And he was like, no, you ain't gonna cut your hair. Then she said sometimes she would awaken in the middle of the night and find him under the clovers, under the clovers, looking at her body with a flashlight, examining her. Weird. He kept a lug wrench taped up halfway on the handle in the car. Which he told her is for protection. So then they confirm that she obviously has nothing to do with this. On any of the nights in the Pacific Northwest that the victims had vanished, was she a part of any of it, nor on the day that Ott or Naslund were taken and abducted. Shortly thereafter, she was then interviewed by Seattle's homicide, because now Seattle has learned of what he did in Utah. And the murders abruptly stopped in Seattle and started in Utah. No one even knew about Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And all this shit happening in Colorado. For some odd reason. I don't know why. Liz's friend goes on a trip to Colorado and she comes home and she's like, dude, I don't want to scare you or nothing, but you know how you said your Ted moved to Utah? This shit's happening in Utah now. So, like, don't freak out, girl, but freak the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Just like, and like, you know. So her friend was like, you might have been right about your intuition. In September.
Oh, because she thought that it was him, and she called the cops, and they said, no, it's the wrong Ted. Fuck off. Did she call the cops again?
Yeah.
Oh, and tell him about Colorado?
Dude, she wasn't even taken seriously.
How did the friend know about Colorado?
She didn't. She knew about the Utah murders.
Oh,
she went to
right.
vacation in Utah.
Uh-huh.
So she went home from her vacay and was like, shit, dude, a bunch of little kids are dying in Utah, getting kidnapped, and everything's starting in Utah like it was here. It was super scary. I came back here. So that's what happened.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the only time Liz was ever taken seriously by any law enforcement is when she called and was put through to a woman, the only woman on the force.
Yeah.
She was talking to her, and that woman was like, hey, what? Okay.
Can you come here and talk to me
Well,
for a
she
minute?
took her seriously.
Yeah.
She was like, the way that Liz was like, you guys, literally, my man, matching up. Like, he has nothing good in the positive section. Everything's telling me it's kind of Ted. Mm-hmm. My Ted. Mm-hmm. Ted. And no one took her seriously. They're like, no, he's old. No, his bug is a different color. No, we talked to the professors. Even one teacher called and was like, this dude, his name's Ted Bundy. He's weird, but I don't know if it's the Ted. Mm-hmm. Like, I just want to get his name out there because his name is Ted, and he kind of sort of looks like he might be the guy. So, like, he was reported. No one took it seriously, though, until this female officer was like, okay, you are a woman, a mother.
Yeah.
And you're not letting this go. And he's your man. So she kind of starts being like a secret detective cop, and she's now finding, like, she's doing, like, receipts and going back and, like, where were you this day?
She's doing detective work.
Yes.
Yes.
She's being a detective.
Yes.
Yes. A detective.
Sometimes you have to do it.
Sometimes you do, because
unfortunately, you have to give them.
Well, unfortunately, as Liz is going through these things, she kind of remembers that the reason why she was cleared from the day of Lake Sammamish is because after he takes, I believe it's Denise, I think, he went and had burgers and ice cream with Liz. So after the murders, he went and had dinner.
Yeah. And
called her and was like, oh, I'm hungry. You hungry? I'm hungry. So, and she used to have nightmares. She said that she would have nightmares about helping him dispose of victims and stuff. Just because she never knew. Mm-hmm. And her one friend said something that I'm pretty sure scarred her to this very day.
Yeah.
She said, wouldn't you know if that was your Ted? Like, wouldn't you know? And so she was like, well, yeah, I guess I would. So it's not my Ted. Like, my Ted's weird, but, like, he's not killer weird.
Oh, but back in, they didn't know a lot about mental health back then. You know?
I don't know. That would just scar me for life. But like I said, in September, he sold his bug to a teenager, a Midville teenager. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the Utah police went and got it and impounded it. Imagine being that teenager.
Damn it, he didn't get his $75 back.
You're like, I got my car. And then the cops came and took it. Mm-hmm. It was a nice car.
Kind of genius, though.
So, they did do a search on that car, and they found hair matches to Caryn Campbell. And they also found hair from Melissa Smith, and Carol's hair was also in that car. And Roberta Nail's hair was also present in that vehicle. And so, these
Did they start talking to the other police stations at this point?
They did. Everybody's kind of sort of started talking to each other, because now, only reason why is because of them, like, they saw in the papers. It was one of the detectives read a paper in Seattle, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. It was newspapers. Like, someone was reading the paper and was like, oh shit, this stuff was happening there. Now it's not. Now it's happening here, kind of connection. Mm-hmm. So that's how that's how the public makes it seem that, like, law enforcement got involved together. Yeah. I don't know the logistics behind, like, how they really started talking to each other.
Yeah, have to have a break to start communicating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm not 100% sure on that. I can't imagine back then, especially being the guy that wants to solve it all, and then finding out that, like, your guys moved on And now you have to coerce with someone else to solve the cases. And now it's like a whole thing shared.
Serial killer.
Now it's like a shared, we did it, you know. It's a downer for any detective because it's not going to be only I.
It's a team effort now.
And the guy in Florida who did do that was sued by Bundy, and that's the only case he's ever lost for unniceness in a jail.
Oh, really?
Ted Bundy won it because he was that much of a douche about the whole thing and being the guy that Bundy wouldn't get away from. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow. Yeah. So, where was I?
She's connecting dots.
Yeah. So, on October 2nd, detectives put Bundy into a lineup.
Yeah.
That's when we get him in person. As he's coming in the room, she's like, Officer Naslin, right there. That's him. That's him. Right there.
And
right
that was
there.
Miss Carol?
Yep. And they're like, girl, slow down. Let him put the number up. Like before his number even came up, she's like, bam.
She's ready to go?
Yep. She was like, I am 100%. I am confident. Lock him away today. Right now. I know it. For sure. That's him. Okay. So that's what happens.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And then a witness comes forward.
I'd peek around the corner and flip him off. Ha-ha,
yeah, right. And then a witness comes forward and recognizes him. Damn trucks. And recognizes him as the stranger from the high school auditorium.
Mm-hmm. The one that said put me in front of him and I'll know.
Well, no, because that was Carol.
Oh.
But, the evidence that linked Debra Kent, whose body was never found, was the DNA because there was a skeleton found near the high school that years later was identified to be her. So that's what a DNA analysis completed that case. There was enough evidence to charge him with aggressive kidnapping and an attempted criminal bad guyness. Assault. That's what it is. In the DaRonch case, he was freed on $15,000 bail that his parents paid and spent most of the time going back and forth, preparing for trial and going to Seattle, living with Liz. And at this time, the Seattle...
She moved him back in?
She let him come back, yeah. She never stopped dating him or loving him the whole time. She never no one ever could prove it was him.
Yeah.
Until the cops were like, well, help us. And then at that point, you still love him. And she couldn't get past the years that none of this shit was going on. Those were the good years. You always go back in shitty situations to the good years.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, sorry. The Seattle police had put him under surveillance, looking for evidence for their cases up there. She wrote in a statement saying that when he was under surveillance, when Ted and I stepped out the front porch to go anywhere, so many unmarked police cars started up, it sounded like the beginning of the Indy 500. So...
They weren't very good
No, they weren't trying to stop because he started being a douche to them. Like, he would bring them coffee and do the, hey, boys, I know you're watching me shit. And so they were like, well, you already know. Start him up, kids. He's leaving.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a scare to him to be like, we see you. We will go with you no matter where you go, sir. Every goddamn cop on this police force will follow you. So how about you just stay put or take your ass back to Utah? Thank you, sir.
Jesus.
Yeah. In November, three investigators, Jerry Thomas from Utah, Robert Kimball from Washington, and Michael Fisher from Colorado. They met in Aspen, Colorado to exchange information. Of the 30 people, there was, within that time, in that meeting, there was 30 detectives and prosecutors from, and prosecutors from 5 states.
Yeah, isn't Idaho in there yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
After they left their meeting, they convinced that Bundy was the murderer. They thought that they were going to agree and find the evidence that would be needed to charge him. So it was like, we agree, but now let's come together. Let's find out what evidence we all need so that we all can make sure we all get our convictions for murder from this guy. In February of 1976, he stood trial for the kidnapping. On advisement of his attorney, he waived his rights to a jury trial and just presented the case to the judge.
And this was in Utah?
Yes.
Okay.
On the fourth day of the bench trial and a weekend of deliberation, Judge Howard Hanson Jr. found him guilty of kidnapping and assault. In June, he was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in the Utah State Penitentiary. God. In October, he was found hiding. This is so embarrassing for him. He was found hiding in the bushes at the prison, in the prison yard.
Oh, because he was trying to escape?
He was going to escape,
Yeah.
behind the bush. And he was carrying an escape road kit containing road maps, an airline schedule, and a social security card, and several weeks' worth of commissary items. Later that month, Colorado authorities were like, guess what, fucker? We got you for the Campbell murder. Boom, bitch. Longtime resident. After a long time of doing that, they got the extradition. He waived it.
Yeah.
He would be transferred to Aspen in January 1977. In Aspen, Colorado, the jail that he was taken to, bless its heart, was so little.
Yeah.
And so cute. On June 7th, 1977, he was transported the 40 miles from the Garfield County Jail in Glenwood Parks to Piatt County Courthouse in Aspen.
Piatt County?
Piatt County in Aspen for preliminary hearings. He was elected to serve as his own attorney at the time. As such, the judge said, this man does not need to be in handcuffs or in shackles. Undo both. Because then he cannot do proper lawyer investigating with handcuffs and shackles on. He could not.
Presentations?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what he said. During a recess, he went to the court's law library to research his case. The guard at the time was like, we've done this for a couple of days now, sir. He's like, I'm going to have my cigarette. Bundy's like, go ahead, sure, fine, yeah. Sure. Go. Hopped out the window on him. 2 stories up. And he made a comment to one reporter.
He didn't break his ankle.
Yeah, he did, actually.
Oh.
He sprained it. Okay, he didn't break it. Fuck you, Gene. Jeez. You guys, the other day, she asked me if I was leaving my house like a dick. Anyway.
No, I asked if you were home.
Oh, yeah, if I was home. Like she's a fucking comedian. Anyway. So, he jumped right out. And then he shed his clothes, the outer laying of his clothes, like Batman.
Yeah.
Or Superman, Batman. Took them off. Under his court attire, he had a different outfit on.
Yeah. Boogie down. Yeah. How far did he make it?
He walked the streets for a moment, and then he hiked southward onto the Aspen Mountain, where he broke into a hunting cabin, stole food, clothing, and a rifle. The following day, he left, continuing south towards the town of Cascade Butte, but become lost in the forest. So for 2 days, he wandered around aimlessly in the mountains.
Well, it's a big area up
and
there.
did circles, missing 2 trails that led downward to the summit of the mountain. On June 10th, he broke into a camping trailer on a lake 10 miles south of Aspen. He took food as a ski parka, but insisted on continuing southward. He walked, but instead of continuing south, he went back north towards the Aspen golf course.
Oh, he got disoriented?
No, he got scared.
Oh.
And he got past all the search parties along the way. 3 days later, he stole a car that was sitting at the edge of the golf course. Cold, sleep deprived, and in constant pain from his ankle, which hurt really, really bad.
Oh, yeah, no, it fucking hurts.
Super bad. He drove back into Aspen. When he drove back into Aspen,
he was spotted.
He was swerving. He was a horrible, horrible driver. Everybody says, don't know how the fuck the man drove anywhere. He was horrible at it. He was swerving and in and out of traffic. When the cops see him, he turns his light off. Just turns his lights off like he went invisible.
His headlights?
Flip. Oh. Just flip.
All right.
Can't see me. When they pulled him over, he had been a fugitive now for 6 days. In the car, they found maps for the area, and they think that this is where he knew there was a spot marked, and they thought that that's where Caryn Campbell's body was. And he knows that they thought that because as his own a lawyer, he got all this shit that they thought.
Mm-hmm. The police discovery and stuff.
Yeah. And his escape was not a spontaneous act. It was planned. There had been a reporter coming to see him in Colorado, and he gave this guy good access to him, which is one of my favorite pictures, by the way, because he's like looking at a book, and he has like his shackles and stuff on, and he looks down at the guy, and it's like one of my favorite pictures of him of all time. But anywho, he would ask that guy, well, what's down that road? Well, what's up that road? Well, how far to this? How far to that? That guy thought he was just making good old conversation. It wasn't. It was a ruse. Anyway. So he was escaped from that, but they found him. Then he decided he was going to get a better idea. He was going to escape again. And he made comments about this escape too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Braggy pants?
Yes. Ow. Okay. He got a detailed floor plan of the jail and had a hacksaw blade that he had gotten from other inmates. He accumulated $500 in cash and smuggled into him over a 6-month period of time.
Wow.
Yes. He said, later by visitors like, at the time, his good old friend, Carol Ann Boone, a.k.a. Sean Marie Ann Johnson. She was one of the people. During one evening, the other inmates, prisoners, were showering. He would saw the outlet of his cell, and he lost 35 pounds. Dropped 35 pounds, no one even noticed. And was able to wiggle through the crawl space that he had made. Yes. He had also...
That's dedication.
This is followed by weeks of doing practice runs. He didn't just do this one night. No, we practiced. Mm-hmm. Practice makes perfect.
True.
And he did. Inmates would report to the warden that they heard people, like someone walking. They're like, dude, haunted. Like, I think. I hear shit. And the warden's like, you guys are fucking nuts. You guys aren't hearing a damn thing. It's a prison. Calm down. No one's walking in the walls. No one's walking on the ceiling. You guys are wrong.
Yeah.
It was Ted.
Wasn't no raccoon, folks.
No. It was Ted. So, he dropped down an escape aid from there. In 1977, this is that time I'm telling you guys about. I don't know why I didn't tell you guys a date. I don't think you guys cared. But it was December 30th, so that's why all the jail staff was not there. It is the holidays. So that is important.
Yeah.
I guess that
So
date is important.
There.
Yeah. And this is back then. So that I'm really rude. That date is important. It's the holidays.
Oh, Jesus.
My God. And the only people that were in the prison were very violent prisoners and a guard. Everybody else got their inferno. And they could go home.
Yeah.
So the jail was less.
Furlough.
Their furloughs. Yeah, their jail was less guards, less inmates. Time to act. But it does need to be noted that weeks up to this, people tried. Them inmates tried to tell the truth. And they tried to say that someone was going to escape. And no one believed them because they were inmates. And I think those gentlemen got the final laugh.
Mm-hmm.
When
When
they were sitting there eating their food and laughing hysterically.
When everybody's like, where's Ted?
Well, the worst thing about this is, all Bundy did was pile books and files onto his bed and covered them with a blanket, pretending to be asleep when he went through that crawl space. It was until noon that someone was like, damn.
I should put eyes on him.
Bundy's been sleeping for a minute. Till noon. This is a fucking prison. You don't check on him till noon.
Well,
No one. He had like a 17-hour fucking lead. Like, catch me if you can, fucker. You're dumb. I escapade on you.
you know,
Well,
that's why they make improvements.
Guess where he practiced his run
We
to?
learn from things. Where'd he go?
Guess
7-Eleven?
where? No. It would drop down into, back then the jailers lived in the prison confines
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you say they do in Texas.
Yeah.
Big thing. We won't get into it. Anyway, he dropped down into a jailer's closet. That guy was gone. So he just switched his fucking clothes and walked out.
Oh, sweet.
It was that goddamn, no Shawshank, no potty system.
No river of piss.
No
and
river
shit.
of piss and shit.
Yeah.
We changed our clothes and left. What? Because that guy was out for the evening with his wife. Could you imagine being the poor fucker if you guys would have stayed home? Ugh. Pretty sure he would have been murdered.
I guess, how did he know that guard was going to be gone?
I don't think he did. I honestly think that he thought in his head, like, I will just fucking murder this dude. And he did it in the heats of night, like he normally, like he practiced, like his routine for years. So I'm sure he would have just dropped down quietly, ever so quietly and scary and creepy like, and killed the good officer and left. Thank God that did not happen. But that's what I believe could have possibly taken place.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. So, make this worse. He drove towards... He stole the car. Like I said, he walks out the front door. Freedom.
Yeah.
We steal a car. We drove eastward till Glenwood Springs. Then the car breaks down on the mountain on Interstate 70. A passing motorist sees him, drives him into Vernal, that is 60 miles to the east. Then he catches a bus to Denver. Then when he gets to Denver, he gets on a plane and he goes to Chicago. In the Springwoods jail at noon, they discover him missing on the 31st. 17 hours later. God. By then, he landed in fucking Chicago. He was like, I'm here.
So he was gone for a good bit.
From Chicago, he traveled by train, jealous,
Yeah.
to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where he was in a local tavern. On January 2nd, 5 days later, he stole a car again and drove to Atlanta. In Atlanta, he boarded a bus and went to Tallahassee, Florida. The next morning on January 8th, he rented a name under the alias Chris at a Holiday Inn near Florida State University campus. He later said that he wanted to resolve the interfering of criminal activity, and he wanted to go get a job.
Like a real job.
A real big boy job. Mm-hmm. And make it. And not do these type of things in Florida.
I'm glad he had some thinking time.
He really did. He really was interested in knowing why he was the way he was. Because he himself did not understand the way he was. He just knew he was that way and didn't see anything wrong with it.
No guilt or remorse?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
No, so like I said, he really thought he was going to be that way so that he could remain free and undetected in Florida. Mm-hmm. He changed his name. He grew a kind of a pedophile stash and stuff. He really did. He really tried. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. He did some job applications. He worked as a construction guy, kind of, sort of, sometimes. But then he went back to his old habits of shoplifting, stealing credit cards from wallets and everything like that.
It was easier.
Yeah, than being legit. He was like, okay, well, I'm going to go back. In the early hours of January 15th, 1 week after arriving in Tallahassee, Bundy entered FSU's Chi Omega sorority house.
Oh, wow.
Through the rear door.
That's ballsy. He just walked into the sorority?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dude, just wait till I tell you what happens.
Yeah.
And at about 2:45 a.m. is when he bludgeons the first victim. Margaret Bowman, 21, with a piece of oak firewood from the back of the house.
Yeah.
Like a caveman thing. As she slept. And hers was the most gruesome. Like, she was the first one, so all of his, like, first built-up rage went out on her.
Oh, honey. And she was just sleeping.
And she was sleeping. And she was just sleeping. Then he garroted her with Then he garroted her with nylon stockings. Then he entered the bedroom of 20-year-old Lisa Levy and beat her unconsciously and tore off one of her nipples with his teeth.
What?
And bit into her buttocks.
No.
And sexually assaulted her with her hair mist bottle. In the adjoining room, he also attacked Kathy, which he broke her jaw, deeply lacerating her shoulder, and Caryn, who suffered a concussion, a broken jaw, lost teeth, and a crushed finger.
These guys didn't hear the scuffle in the other rooms?
They were all sleeping. It all happened when they were sleeping. They said they kind of heard something. The two that survived at the end didn't hear a thing. They woke up to it. And it's horrible. They did survive, though. Those two girls did survive. The two at the end. Thank God they survived.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Like I said, it's horrible.
Oh, that's ballsy, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So they say that the reason why those two live, when he got to their room, headlights outside from a vehicle outside startled him. Like, they shined into the room.
Yeah.
And startled him. So they remember that. They remember, like, pieces. Which I guess in these situations, they say that's why I don't remember my childhood too. Is like when traumatic shit happens, you don't remember it. Mm-hmm. So they don't, thank God, some of these women, the survivors, I won't speak for all of them, but they don't remember what happened. They've just been told what happened. So, the one friend that woke up, I'm not sure which one it is. I don't know if it's Caryn. I should have paid attention. On one of the shows you can watch about him, I think it's his Snapped one they do on the Oxygen channel. But anyway, the 3 that survived that night come together again. Because one girl sees him coming in, and that's how this is all solved and cracked. Sorry, I'm a ball buster. I'll shoot right to the end of that.
It's fine.
But she sees him. She hides in the house. She's in the house with him. and she's hiding behind the wall, and she says he stops in front of the door and does that creepy, listen. He doesn't hear anything, so he leaves.
Oh,
so she
God.
saw him, laid eyes upon him, and he was still holding the club thing that he had bashed the girl's head in with in the hallway. So she, thank God.
My pants.
Oh my God, I would have died.
Ooh.
They determined later on that all 4 attacks took less than 15 minutes.
That's a lot of rage.
In less than 15 minutes, he went in there and did that. Within earshot.
5 girls.
Yeah, within earshot, dude, were 30 witnesses who heard nothing. And after leaving there, he broke into an apartment, a basement apartment 8 blocks away, where he attacked student Cheryl. This is her. These are the girls. Sorry, they didn't talk to anybody from the sorority. It's this sorority house. I don't know if they were an actual sorority or if they were just a bunch of college girls who lived together. Nonetheless, there was 4 of them that lived in the same house. Cheryl Thomas, by dislocating her shoulder and fracturing her jaw and her skull in 5 places. She was left with permanent problems and ending her career as a dancer. She was a beautiful ballet dancer.
Oh, honey.
And on her bed, they found semen and a pantyhose mask that contained 2 hairs that were similar to Bundy's. And I just want to say in that, oh my God. Okay, so check it out. The one friend, they think that she's in bed. The 2 friends are sleeping in one room. The one friend is only in that room because she's newly moved in. So she doesn't have her own setup yet. And she's sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
And she can hear the thud, the thud, the thud. She can hear noises. And so she wakes up her friend on the bed and she's like, hey, what is that? Hey, what is that? The friend on the bed gets irritated. And she's like, it's fucking nothing, dude. Go to sleep. And she's asking about Cheryl. She's like, there's a bunch of noise in Cheryl's room. There's a bunch of, like, you know what I mean? She's like, dude, shit's coming from Cheryl's room. It's not cool.
Like,
doesn't sound right.
Guy in there last time you knew.
Yeah, and that's what she thinks.
Be alone.
The one friend is like, dude, she's probably getting laid. And she's like, no, dude, that doesn't sound like anybody getting laid. So the one friend is like, hey, if you really fucking want to know, call her. They have an unspoken pact between them all that if something happens, you answer that fucking phone because it could be me in trouble.
Yeah.
So they do. They call her phone and they can hear it ringing through the walls. And followed the ringing is a bunch of thud, 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 thud. And a bunch of back and forth from different rooms in the apartment. And then the apartment goes silent. And then they can hear the ringing. And then they can hear Cheryl moaning on the floor. And they go in and save her. Fucking bam bam. Just saying. How much niftier do you need to be saved by your friends? And they didn't see each other. Dude, so she wakes up in the hospital. She has no idea what's happened. She's afraid her friend died. Mm-hmm. And like, they have, oh dude, I just couldn't even imagine. So she is recovering from that. Okay, so on February 8th, Bundy drives 150 miles due to Jacksonville, Florida, where he's in a stolen van from the university.
Yeah.
In a parking lot, he approaches a 14-year-old.
Those young guys again.
Yeah, and she was also the daughter of the Jacksonville Police Department. Like, for some reason, dude, I think he had a thing. And he identified himself to her as Richard Burton, a fire department guy.
Uh-huh.
So he's tries to pull a ruse. But she had arrived there to collect her older brother. And so she was safe, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
That afternoon, he backtracked 60 miles westward to Lake City at Lake City Junior High.
I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah, I lived in Jacksonville for a minute.
Oh, well, the following morning, 12-year-old Kimberly Diane Leach was summoned to her homeroom by her teacher after forgetting to get her purse. Mm-hmm. She had never returned to class.
No.
Several weeks later, after an intensive search, Her partially mummified remains were found in a pig shed near... Oh, if you've lived there, then you tell me what the fuck that river's called.
Oh, Suwannee River State Park.
Okay, yeah, and
it's
that's
really green. There's a lot of rivers. There's a lot. You're by
the pictures look
Yeah,
pretty. I mean, sorry. Yeah. That's 35 miles northwest of Lake City. She appeared to have been raped, and with her underwear found near the body contained semen. And there was evidence that she had died by a knife. She's 12 years old. And this is the one that he done fucked up. Florida don't play. Like, when it comes to their children,
yeah,
Florida is not a fuck around state. Like, dude. So, on February 12th, with insufficient cash to pay the overdue rent, with growing suspicion closing in on him, he steals another car. He flees back to Tennessee, driving westward across the Florida Panhandle. 3 days later, around 1 a.m., he was stopped by a Pensacola officer, David Lee, in the Alabama state, near the Alabama state line. After a wants and warrants check showed the Volkswagen Bug was stolen. Why did he steal a Bug?
Maybe he likes them.
When he
like
was told, I guess, when he was told he was under arrest, Bundy kicked the officer's Lee's feet out from underneath him and took off running.
Yeah.
He fired his gun as a warning shot, followed by a second warning shot towards the ground. After that, he ran off. He does tackle him. In the stolen vehicle are multiple IDs, 3 sets of IDs.
Oh, wow.
Belonging to females, students, and then there was 21 stolen credit cards, a stolen TV, also a pair of dark-rimmed non-prescription glasses,
Sorry,
and plain slacks, later identified to be worn by the quote-unquote officer, Richard from the fire department in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which was Bundy. There was no guy. When they had no idea, he refused to give his name up. He refused. So what happens? They arrest him still.
That was that little bit that I was watching.
Yeah.
When I came in.
They arrest him still. Yeah. So you've seen this. So they arrest him, and when he goes to court, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not telling you shit." And he tells the judge, his lawyers, he says, "Hey, if you guys let me make a phone call, I need to call some people before who I am comes out. Like, I need to call my mama. I need to call my old lady. I got people I need to call before I tell you guys who I am."
And the judge doesn't want to cooperate?
No, the judge does. He's like, "Oh, okay." Because they don't know who he is. They're like, "Okay, call. Just tell us who you are so we can charge you. We don't give a shit." They don't know who he is. So the judge just is like, "Okay, sure. We'll give you till tomorrow. Go make your phone calls. Fucking, we'll be back here in the morning." And he tells that cop that pulls him over when he fires those shots at him and then gets him, under his breath, he says, "I wish you would have fucking killed me." Like, God damn it. You could have killed me and I didn't have to do any of this nonsense.
Well, but he can't just, he has to go.
Well, so then
go big.
Then he calls and he tells Liz, he goes, "I'm in Florida." She automatically is like, "Damn it, I thought you might have been." Because the Chi Omega murders have been everywhere all over the news. Because that was huge. That was a sorority house. He went room from room.
Yeah.
If that girl would have never came home and those lights never would have stopped him, he would have gone room from room. It was a house full of women, 2 to a room. So there was that. It was everywhere. So Liz was like, "Shit, I had a bad feeling."
National news.
Yeah. So she was like, "I had a bad feeling you would have been down there." And he tells her, he's like, "I don't know what is wrong with me." Because she went through alcoholism. And so to get on her level, he kind of tells her, he's like, "It's like being an alcoholic, dude. I cannot stop. Like, I don't want to be this way. I am sick. Like, I don't know I don't know why. I am who I am, and I just don't know why I am."
It's like maybe like a compulsion where you have to, you know.
Yeah. So the trial was covered
Mm.
by 250 reporters from 5 continents, guys. This was the biggest thing. He was the OJ of his time back then. He was the OJ of 1979, sorry. That was like the world's first look at like the handsome, devilish, is he, could he, no, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's hot. And he's nice, and he's polite, and he's smart, and he's a lawyer, and, well, he's not a lawyer, but he's gonna be, like, he's handling his own shit. Like, it's crazy. The publicity is insane. And he, like, gimme.
Loves it.
Dude, he's like
Exactly.
the Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
Rah! Like, he's just loving it.
Daybell's it.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, wow. Sorry. It was the largest national court date in the U.S.
Did OJ beat him out?
I don't know. I should look.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna do OJ?
No.
Okay.
Maybe just because of his wife, because that's sad. But
Yeah.
OJ fucking did it. I've already said that multiple times. I believe that to my core. OJ did it. Anyway. So he handles his own defense, okay? And this is when he gets appointed to be his own attorney again in Florida. And he says his case was sabotaged from the beginning. The entire defense sabotaged. Everything sabotaged. That it was it was out of his entire defense was sabotaged out of spite and distrust, I guess.
Because he's a liar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he doesn't like honest. He doesn't like people being mean to him and like feeling dumb in the situation. And he felt, and his lawyers were like, this guy's a douche.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you guys think he's cute on camera. He is a goddamn monster. Like even working with him is miserable.
Because it's his way.
Yeah. He
Gosh,
knows
yeah.
everything. He's smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, he was given a deal. At this point in time for the murders, he was given a deal that he would have just done life. They would have taken the death penalty off the table if he would have pled guilty.
Mm-hmm.
But he, in his own head, being as stubborn and as...
narcissistic.
Uh-huh.
That just means that he has a great big ego and he was very confident that he was going to, get off?
Yeah,
and then
he
go
was...
face, what about the
Mhm.
other states? There's 5 of them waiting on your ass.
Dude, this is it. A pre-trial
The whole escape
exchange.
thing.
Dude, they did 75 years is what he was offered if he would have pled guilty to killing all 3, Levy, Bowman, and Lynch, in exchange for a firm 75-year prison sentence. And he said no. And he said no.
No.
Can you guys believe that?
Oh.
No. Because he thought he was literally going to walk away with this. That he could do whatever he wanted to do. Because he got to, this is when he got to question them. And like he got to question the girl who came home and saw him and be like, where the fuck was you? Why were you there? What did I do?
He didn't even see her, huh?
No, he didn't even see her at all.
Ugh.
When she came in, I guess he was like, hold up, what? What do you know? Cool. And that guard, okay, the guard for the Florida,
Mm-hmm.
the warden meets Ted Bundy and puts his hand on Bundy's shoulder and does that firm, you're staying here, Bundy.
Yeah.
And he pretty much is like, you're not going to escape out of my jail. Not today, not tomorrow.
I'm sure they
nah.
got a whole bunch of phone
You're
calls.
not. He sues
Yeah.
them and wins. Ted Bundy sues them and wins.
Sues
Because
who? Florida?
the jail.
Oh.
Because they were treating
county
him
jail?
unfairly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, they covered up his light and everything. Like, imagine this. He is doing his own work on his own case. He can only read papers or anything if he puts them out his cell and reads them through the bars using the light from the hallway. Because of his little stunt with the light. And the judge was like, you guys are treating him unfairly. Like, fucking give this dude a goddamn light.
You have to be human.
You have to treat him like a person. Like, yeah, he is a piece of poo.
But do your job and search him and make sure he doesn't...
Well, he did. He went under a lot, dude. Like, that jail was not about to mess around with him. So, last minute, he agreed to take that plea deal, but the last minute he said, because he was pleading not guilty for every murder. Everything he was ever asked about, he was pleading not guilty for. So he said he was not about to stand up in front of the world with all those cameras in there and say he did a damn thing.
Oh, no.
He's like, no. Not a chance. He said he just couldn't do it. In quotes, it said it made him realize that he was going to have to stand up in front of the whole world and say that he was a guilty man, and that is something Ted Bundy would never do. He also did not know that when he bit her, that he left the impressions that he did. He bit her twice. He bit her once and then lifted up and bit again. The warden shows up in the middle of the night, taps on Bundy's cell and tells him, we're going for a ride. We're going somewhere. Bundy gets terrified.
Yeah.
He had never been taken outside at night before. He was terrified.
Thinking Shawshank shit.
Yeah. Well, they fucking take him to a dentist office. And he starts losing his shit. He's freaking out. He wants his lawyer present. He's telling him, he's like, you guys cannot fucking do this. I thought
he was his own lawyer.
Well, he needs his other lawyers. He's not an actual lawyer. He's never passed the bar. He didn't finish school. He still what he does still has to be approved by legit lawyers. He's just being able to question his own people, look up his own shit, do that. He's not a legit lawyer. So he's freaking out because he's like, I've never seen the warrant. I don't know anything about this. Where's my legal team? Hell no.
Yeah. Which is a valid point, by the way.
It is. But then the warden tells him, he says, Bundy, we can do it this way or we can do it this way. Actually, and I guess Bundy calms down, looks at the warden and tells him, oh, come on. You know I'm not a violent guy. And just sits down and does the molds.
Yeah.
Dude, when you see the pictures of him doing the molds, you see scared on his face. Like, you see it, that he's like, shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Like, all over. There's no denying it whatsoever. You can see every little bit of it on his face. It is insane.
Well, I guess when you're a convicted felon, they do take, I was reading that takes your right to refuse testing away.
Yeah, you have to do that no matter what.
And he was convicted in Colorado, so
and in Utah,
they really could do.
Those laws were applied then, but now you can, yes. Yeah. So they convicted him on July 24th, 1979, for the murders of Bowman, Levy. And so he had to go. Oh, and for the assaults on the other three. And 2 counts of burglary. He was given the death sentence. So, there's that.
Guess they didn't want him to escape, huh?
Yeah. So, then he had to do the trial for his second, that's Kimberly Leach, the youngest, that took place 6 months later. And that took place in Orlando because they switched it. He was found guilty.
Venue? Yeah. They would need to.
Yeah, he was found guilty again. It was less than 8 hours of deliberation. There was an eyewitness testimony saying that someone saw him taking her away from the school, crying, but they thought that it was just a father with disciplining a child. They didn't know that it was a
Off.
girl being kidnapped. And she was crying.
Mm-hmm.
And so we now know that stolen sad fact. And she was led into that stolen van. Fibers on her matched fibers in the van. So back then, that's really what they had.
For forensics?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They matched, there was fibers on her body and fibers from a jacket he was wearing when he was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
He had the same fibers. So the fibers from the jacket, the van, and her body.
He didn't do his laundry, huh?
Nope, everybody matched up. Scared me. Oh, sorry. During the penalty phase in Florida, he marries Carol Boone on the stand.
Uh-huh.
Which is like the most disrespectful thing you could possibly ever do during the murder trial of a 12-year-old is get married to your longtime psychopath follower girlfriend who moved to Florida
to be near you.
To be near you, to visit you, to see you, and to love you and behold you. So Bundy declared them married on TV, on the stand.
Cute.
Very precious. Which they were legally married. That legally did marry them. So do not fall for a psychopath and marry him in court. Say no.
So they were the court of the little girl.
Yes.
In the middle.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. When he's asking for people to come forth on his behalf, and this like the sentencings where it's like, I am a good person. Tell the people you know I'm a good person because I worked on all that shit with you in Seattle. So you know, you tell them, type thing. He did the whole like, you love me, all right? And she's like, I do. And he's like, and I love you, yes. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, you want to marry me, don't you? And she's like, uh-huh. And so he's like, and I want to marry you, right? And she's like, uh-huh. And so they do.
Okay.
And then he says, we're married. Shaka. So, on February 10th, he was sentenced to death for the third time to die by the electrocution chair. When he stood up, he said angrily, tell the jury they were wrong. So, and I gotta tell you what the judge said to him. And it's just, not only does he get married to someone, open that thingy for me, to Carol.
Or you want YouTube?
Which, no, I need Google. Which I can't say I would Carol that part. I don't know if I'd marry you on camera. Like, get me out of here. My mom will see. Like, my family will judge the fuck out of me, but I'll marry you in private for sure.
I've been married in a courthouse.
Not during a 12-year-old girl's murder trial where you raped and mutilated her body. No. So, not only did that happen, but the Florida judge gives him like this
praise.
Yeah. Like this huge praise that I don't think anybody there standing there
expected,
even on the TV, sitting at home or anything. I'm sure when this was said that everybody shit themselves. He says, and I quote, take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself, please. It is a tragedy for this court to see such a talent wasted. I think of humanity that I have expressed to the court. You are a bright young man. You would have made a good lawyer. I would have loved to have you practice in front of me, but you went the wrong way, partner. Take care of yourself. I don't feel any animosity towards you. I want you to know that. Once again, take care of yourself. And Bundy replies with the good old-fashioned, you too, homie. Like, you too.
Yeah, did he forget that it was the 12-year-old
I don't know,
murder
but
after the massacre at the college of little girls, too? I'm sorry, when you're 21,
you're still little.
You're still a kid.
Yeah, but that's what he was given.
I mean, my God.
That's what he was given. So he was executed.
That is disrespectful to the girl. So they didn't play into his bones for time?
No, So what happened with that is, so
They
the
didn't want him
governor
to
finds
stay,
out.
honey.
The governor finds out about this. He
Yeah.
does get a stay, one stay of execution one
Okay.
time because
yeah.
of legal shit. He was trying to get the court redone completely
Mm-hmm.
on like shitty defense from his defense team.
Mm-hmm.
Because he says that if they would have listened to him and done what he did, things would have gone differently, but they took over and did their shit. So the governor goes and makes it, this is not what he says, quote unquote. I am not quoting him by any means. No one get your panties in a bunch. But he comes on the news and he goes, hey, check it. I understand that everybody else wants answers to their case.
Mm-hmm.
But ownership is 9/10 of the law. I own him.
Yeah.
I got him. He's fucking dying on Tuesday. Tuesday. Done. You're done for. So, Tuesday happens. He does a bunch of not press conferences, damn. He does a bunch of interviews with a bunch of different people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he blames everything on porn. I don't believe it was ever porn. I don't ever believe that. But,
Well, but it came out of his mouth.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
I
he
mean,
thinks.
yeah, you can say that. I mean, I guess it doesn't, I don't know. I don't believe you. I don't believe porn made you do a damn thing. I think you're just crazy. But, while in prison on death row, he would pay people to dick down Carol because they're married. He conceived a child. He became a father while on death row to a little girl. And Carol actually seriously believed that this dude did not do it all the way up until he says, he calls her on the phone and he's like, hey, baby girl, you ever heard of Bones for Time? Should I do it? And she says, I'm sorry, but to do Bones for Time, you must know where bones are.
Mm-hmm.
So squeeze the hell out of me. Fool. So then she's like, I'm done with you. I wash my hands of you. Well, they break up before he actually dies. She does divorce him.
I cannot even understand how a guard is going to stand there because there's more than one in the
Not on
room.
death row. Not when you're on death row. He was a death row inmate. If you watch the Ted Bundy with Zac Efron,
Mm-hmm.
he's doing it in the visitation room where you are right. There's about 100, no, not 100. There's about 10 families visiting.
Yeah.
And he's up against the vending machine just fucking sound effects for pounding it out. And she's moaning and everything. And like nobody ever fucking looks left. Not a damn one time. As a child, I would have been magnified on you and been like, Mom, is that sex in the prison? Nice. Who needs a soda? Like that would have been me. I'd have been like, I have to go over there. Who needs a pop? Can I have a dime? Like, I'm just saying. I don't know. So if you want to go off of that,
yeah,
then Zac Efron bangs out that chick up against the...
Well, I want to watch the one that you recommend, so...
It's good.
Share
In that
that
one,
with
I
us
don't think that there's...
On the Facebook.
I don't remember there being any porn. I mean, not porn, but like, you know, shut up. So...
But, so he knocked her up.
Yeah, they had a child. They
He
conceived a
physically
child.
knocked her up, so
Yeah.
he has a child.
And he even tried
with
using that. And
his psychological...
Yeah. He had pictures and everything. And he's like, guys, look. I'm a nice person. He didn't claim it. He said he had found God.
Yeah.
And that's why he was trying to make it right, because he knew he was going to meet his maker if his defenses didn't work out.
Mm.
And a bunch of people that were against death row, against the death penalty, of course, took up his case to try to stop him from being executed.
Mm-hmm.
And within that time, one of them was a female. And he showed her pictures of his daughter and him and like, see, I'm gentle, I'm this. She's the first one that the Bones for Time was like discussed. But the governor straight up said, sorry to all y'all. It ain't happening. Tuesday, we're done. So that night he has, I believe it's like tortillas and beans and rice and stuff for dinner. The next morning in Florida, I guess it's tradition where I break with tradish. But you get to have a good breakfast the morning you die of like eggs, hashies, bacon, eggs, all that fun.
Oh, they know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah, grits.
They feed you that. And then they practiced a couple more times what was going to happen. He got walked through the death talk of like, we're going to shave your head. We'll shave the back of your calf. You'll sit down. We'll strap you. Then you will feel this many jolts of electricity go through your body. You will die. We will confirm you have died. It will be over. So then they walk to the death chamber. When they open the door, there's two big buff guys and then Ted Bundy. And he kind of bitch girl quivers for like a second. And you people said it was noticeable. That like he kind of like lost his grip on reality.
You like kind of hit him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like the feeling of the chair was like, scary to him. And then he sat down. Immediately when sitting down, they say that he grabbed the front of the chair and like just made a fist and held that. And then he was sat down. He was strapped in. The thing was put on top of his head. And then they put a thing over your face. And then they did the whole like last words. And all he wanted really to say was like, tell my friends and family I love them. And sorry for what I've done, obviously. And then they flip the switch and he dies. He dies with a smile on his face. I'll post the pictures of his body. He dies smiling. So what's super cute is after, it's not super cute, it was probably one of the saddest things, but I see where Liz and Molly are coming from, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating on them, because I understand. I have a mother. I would have done the same thing. But before his death, I guess, when they call Liz and they're like, he has passed, his the death warrant was taken out. The guard says he wants you to know that he loves you. He loved you. And he wanted to know why you never wrote back. Like the final letter, why she never wrote back. Then she sits there and says, what letter?
She doesn't have to explain herself.
No. See, what happened is before he died, he did take out the time to write these letters. And the only person in the world who knows what that letter says is Molly. Molly and her mom lived together. And when she came home that day, she saw the mail.
Oh, she got the mail.
She looked through the mail and she said, I've seen my mom fall for his bullshit so many times before. That she did not want her mom to read it and to mourn him and to get sucked back into his shit. So she tossed it in the fire. And she did not lie to her mother or anything. She told her like, oh yeah, there was a letter. There was. Don't worry about it.
She did that out of love. Out of love. Folks. I see that.
And I guarantee you it beats her up. I guarantee you it beats her up not knowing what that letter said and not having that final goodbye. And Molly even says, I robbed my mom of something. Like my anger and my protectiveness.
Maybe throwing it in the fire was too much.
Yeah.
You're right.
She even says, like, I did rob my mom of that.
How old was she when she did that? Was she a teenager?
An adult. A young adult.
So.
And she was also, like, her and her mom had both become heavy drinkers.
Yeah.
And they were both, everything in life at that time when that letter came was just so right.
Yeah.
Like, everything was just
coming together,
gluing back together. And so I can imagine flipping through the mail that day and then seeing that letter and being like, are you fucking kidding? It's like life. It's like when you have that shitty ass boyfriend, you guys break up, right? And you're devastated and then you move on and then you're happy and you're liking yourself again, and you're pretty again in your own eyes, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like,
he
yeah,
waves
girl.
at you on Messenger and you're like,
yeah.
Fine.
And then one day you wake up and the Messenger thing's there and it's like wavy hand and you're like, ew. Oh, why?
Yeah.
And it just ruins everything.
Well, because I've also been the type that falls right back.
Yeah, and I don't, and she would have. And she would have. I mean, that's the love of your life at that time. Those are his final words to you. That is your final goodbye. Meanwhile, she has, keep in mind, guys, all this shit was on TV. So she saw him marry Carol Boone and all that. And she said when she saw that, the only thing that she said was, thank God it was her and not me.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
God bless. So, like, she was already watching it and stuff and being like, no. And Molly was also watching this as a child, as a teenager.
Growing up with it.
Growing up and being like, learning about Kimberly fucked her up. Fucked Molly up good.
Mm-hmm.
They were the same age.
Mm-hmm.
They looked almost exactly alike. So every year that she went on, it killed her inside knowing that another person didn't get to. Was it her fault? You know what I mean? All those things. She wrote out to Kimberly's mom and expressed remorse and everything else and was given the whole, like, it wasn't you. Like, I'm glad you've gotten to live your life. Like, don't let him have the power that he thought he had. And that was what she was doing when she threw that letter into the fire and protected her mom, because I would have done the same. When
maybe
there's letters my mom never read that she got from him when he was in jail. I won't lie. There's multiple times that the mailman lost a letter. Fucking mailman. But I was doing the same thing. Like, I didn't like him. So I was like, why do you need to fall for this dude's bullshit? Mm-hmm. So when she said that, it took me back to being a little kid. And I'm like, not a little kid, I was a teenager. But it took me back. And I'm like, oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
Did the same thing. Yeah. Did the same thing. And mine was out of anger and spite too. And till this very day, I didn't read it though. Mm. I was a hateful little bitch. I didn't even read it. I would take it to the dumpster and just rip it. I would sit there and smoke a cigarette and rip it and then put it in the garbage. And then she would never get it. So I don't give a shit. I never read them.
How'd she know?
No. When she listens to this will be the first time she hears it.
Good.
And my mom listens to all my things.
I feel like an accessory now.
You probably are. But like, I get it, dude. I don't know. And like, I did write down that I said, it's sad that people can't love him because of what he did. Like, everybody feels like the love that he once showed them wasn't true because of what he did. Now,
everybody did say he was very charismatic, charming.
Yeah, and charming and lying and deceiving and all those things. But I don't know. I don't know if, and like, I get where Liz comes from, because she sits there and she's like, if I look back on all that and it's a lie, like, I can't. Can that all be a lie?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Like, you woke up next to him. Like, you had that family image. It just, and like, they were just poison, and she always came back, and every time he answered or called, bam, he'd answer. Like, she never could stop the sick little things. Like, I get it.
It is hard to get out.
And it's like his brother said.
It is very hard.
Dude, his brother even says something about it, because it's like, he's like, yeah, I had good memories with him, but him killing one of those women take away every one of those good memories with him. And that's just sad, because I don't know if you should, like, should a person, even though he did do what he did, should your love be wiped away?
I don't believe that, no.
No. Just because you're a killer doesn't mean you weren't able to love.
Well, you're still a person.
You're still a person. Look at, look at BTK, and even look at Golden State. He was a father. BTK, lovable dad, fucking leader of the goddamn Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do believe that you can be a a vicious fucking killer and love and give love and care about love. And so it just...
Or is that just part of their ruse and manipulation?
Is it? Is it though? Like you really want to, in this world, the thought of that someone can go through this life and fake love and fake caring is devastating. And especially when I believe he truly did love Liz. I really believe he did. What other person would you open up to about the darkest of the darkest things? The minute he gets caught in Florida, the first thing he thinks of is, fuck, I better call and tell her, because tomorrow, goddamn, when they find out who I am,
the first person he called. Not his fan mail.
Not, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, through the whole thing, it's her. It's always her. And he tells her that he's sick and like he doesn't want to be sick. It's her that he's saying all these, thinking all these things to. And dude, she has all the other letters. When she reads them, dude, you can just see it on her face that she is in between. It's a lie and it's true. Because she kind of reads them sarcastically, but with love. Kind of like when you fight with your man and you read his apology text. You kind of do it with that attitude and that sass of like, this is a bunch of bullshit, but you love me. She does it like that. Dude, I cried for her. Like, you can tell just looking at this woman when she talks about their time together that it was love to her.
Yeah.
It was true love. And then you flip to Molly, and God damn it, I love it. Because she says, I don't give a fuck if he loved us or not. Like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. Don't give two shits. And like, yeah, they mourned. But like, if you look at everybody that day that he was killed, and you go back to that execution day, like I said, if you live in Florida and you know somebody who knows somebody who might know somebody that hustled shirts at his execution, I will pay you. If it's a legit one, don't come at me with that fucking thing on eBay that's an imitation or remake or whatever.
A picture of.
Yeah, don't come at me with some nonsense. Like, I want it to be a legit one.
Original OG. Shirt.
And if you come across that, like I said, I will pay you. Not handsomely, but I will pay you. And, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that day. There were people, dude, that celebrated. And like, I understand in the victims and everybody, I understand that. Okay, on July 2nd, it was a party. Fuck the 4th of July. That day then meant the world to his victims that survived, and even the victims of the murdered, their families got that closure. Maybe they got
some kind of closure. I don't know.
Yeah. But, like, do you think Ted Bundy just dropped out of the sky? And that he just rose, I guess, because I guess everybody says he came from hell, but does everybody just believe that this motherfucker just sprouted up from the earth? Like, okay, yes, he needs to die and all of that, but does his mother need to listen to the songs that you made up about his death? Does his family need to? Do they? Do they need to pay for his crimes? I believe they do not. I understand it is, and don't get me wrong, guys. I get that the mom could just turn the TV off and ignore it, and like she'll never know.
No, I think it's more than that. I think those people are followed around by right when things are getting calmed down. A month go by, and then all of a sudden there is a reporter from something you've never heard of.
How do you feel?
At your door with
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
Like I said,
social media now, good Lord.
She did talk to one mom the day after his execution, and that was public. That was on the TV. That was on a goddamn morning show.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we didn't even give this mother time to mourn because everybody just went on with like, oh, your son's a piece of shit, so you don't care.
You must be a piece of shit because you raised him.
No, that's just it. People didn't think she was.
Oh, good. Okay.
People didn't think she was because he was very clear.
Yeah.
Like, I had a good childhood. Like, I am this way because I am this way.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I'm sure there were those asshole people in the world that were like, it's your fault, because there always is. But for the majority, everybody was like, it's sad. Like his family had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom tells everybody, my son was the best son in the world. I think she says the greatest son in the world. And like his siblings, every one of them were like, no, dude, legit, like good guy. His little brother does remember one time where they were in Utah, and Ted cut the visit short and was like, you got to go home now. Like, we're going to the airport, you're going home.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother said that he did look up at Ted without Ted knowing in the airport, and saw Ted's face, that he was just lost in disgust and anger. Like, on his face was just like, he was just disgusted. Like, with himself, you know? And he's like, he even says, like, I don't think Ted even knows I saw that or was meant to see that.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he legitly saw a moment of Ted being like, I am the worst person in the fucking world. And he thinks that he was sent home because Ted had an urgency to do whatever he needed to do. But like, I don't know. I don't know if you should die with no one loving you and no one caring. And I do get, so he was cremated,
mm-hmm.
and his final wishes were that his ashes were shattered, whatever, along the same mountain that his victims were found upon. He didn't call it that mountain. It was like an adjoining mountain, but same mountain.
The same range area.
Same area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where he wanted his ashes. And I don't know if that wish was ever succeeded, because everything I read beyond that said that everybody said that the mom should flush them or throw them away or whatever. So I don't know if that was ever gone out. But he did die. And he, at the end of his life, dude, would have changed. If we would have kept him alive and he would have
studied his brain.
Not even studied his brain. At one point in time, he was asked to help with the Green River Killer.
Mm-hmm.
He gave a bunch of bullshit. But at the same time, he didn't. Because that's when Ted was like, okay, are you guys going back to that place? Like where the body's been found. Because he goes back. He's like, not now. He's like, now that you guys have been there, he's not going back there with the 10-foot pole. But he goes back and revisits them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he did give insight on that. Doing his third person, like if I was this guy.
Yeah, like intensive interviews for psychology and like understanding and empathetic wise. And
oh, dude, if you guys haven't watched Mindhunter on Netflix, for one, get out of the rock you live under, Gene, and watch it. And that's when my roster of favorite killers was changed when I watched that show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watched that show and I'm like, what do you mean this is all true? And I can watch all of it for myself. And this is just, okay. So I went and looked up Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
And oh boy, does my heart beat big for Ed Kemper. And he is a horrible, horrible fucking man. Mm-hmm. Horrible, horrible man. But goddamn, I love him. Maybe more the character on the show. Maybe that guy I'm more in love with than the actual Ed Kemper. I'm in love with his mind. Because he was a chatterbox. He loved to chit and give insight on why he thought people were the way that they were. So I loved him. So originally, okay, when I came into this world of killers, my roster went Golden State. Because I don't know you. You're mysterious. You could be hot. I don't know. Number 1. Then it went Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
And then it went Richard. And then it, you know what I mean? Bam, bam, bam. I didn't even know about Ed Kemper.
About Mr. Ed?
No, because I even went like John Wayne Gacy. You know what I mean? He's on there before Ed Kemper would have ever been on my list until I watched that show. So that's why. So I can't say Ed is technically 2, because technically he's 3. But, you know... My love for Ed is new, so I can't say solid number 1. But
you gotta dive in and do your research.
I did right after I watched Mindhunter, I went balls deep into anything that said Ed Kemper attached to it. I read a bunch of shit that wasn't even relevant. A bunch of it was like, I don't even know. I got on like this message board. There was like a bunch of crazy shit. And I found myself going like way far into it than I needed to go.
Kind of like a car wreck you can't stop watching.
I couldn't, because I was just like, what? And I'll tell you about him one day, because Gene, he's the guy that, like, when you find out about his mom, you're like, oh, okay. It's all right, dude. Your mom was a dick. It's fine. We forgive you for everything you've ever done. And he was, like, super nice. And, like, Ed Kemper was, like, everybody says that Ted Bundy was nice. But, like, no. He was, like, BFFs, like, deuce in a boot with, like, the police. And, like, he would, if you watch the interviews and stuff, he would be like, you want a drink? You want something? You do? Cool. And he'd tell the guard, go get this for this man. Go get it. Go on, boy. Go get it. And he'd go get it. And then he'd come back. So, like, I don't know. Watch Mindhunter. You guys tell me who you love. But did you know that Manson was a very, very small man? I don't know if you guys know this. And we'll do Charlie, too. Big fan.
Isn't he like 5'2" or 5'4"?
5.
Oh.
I don't even think he's 5.
No,
He looks like a baby.
No.
Look up Manson's mugshot, and they will show you him standing next to the wall, and it almost looks like you need to have one of those "you must be this tall to go into prison" signs. And like, he barely fucking makes it. He's like tippy toes, I want to go on this ride so bad, hardcore.
How big is
Charles Manson? Very small man.
If this leads me to a porn, I'm
probably will.
Really
I don't know if he made a porn, but I can't say that yes or no to that. There might be a remake of it. He's a very small man. What does it say, Gene?
He's 5'2".
Oh, 5'2". Small as shit.
He's 5'2" or 5'6", depending on source.
I'm 5'6". He ain't 5'6". I'm big enough to go into prison. I would have fucking conquered that sign. Like, no. What do you don't, Gene, you don't search right. Look for images. Hold on. Where is the one? I don't know why we're doing this on here. Here, do you want to read this list for people?
Okay.
Yeah, start with this list, and then here is the list of the victims in order.
Starting again.
Yeah, starting again with those victims.
So in 1974, starting January 4th, Caryn Sparks, 18. February 1st, Linda Healy, 21. March 12th, Donna Manson, 19. April 17th, Susan Brancourt was 18. May 6th, Roberta Parks was 22. June 1st, Brenda Ball, 22. June 11th, Georgianne Hawkins. He's 5'2", folks. Georgianne Hawkins was 18. 5'2", 5'3", in my opinion, is Charles Manson. Okay.
Georgianne Hawkins.
He did 2 in one day. July 14th, Janice, 23rd. No, I know.
Oh, I was like, God damn.
This has been day 4 of Mr. Bundy, ma'am.
Good, sorry.
And then also Denise Nosland, 19. Then he took a timeout until October 2nd. Nancy Wilcox, 16. October 18th was Melissa Smith, 17. October 31st of 74 was Laura Amy, and she was 17 years old.
She's from Utah.
So these were Washington, and so 12 was Utah.
Mm-hmm.
November 8th was Carol DaRonch, 18.
She's a survivor. Badass.
November 8th was Debra Kent, 17. 75.
And then we go into a new year.
So we took a time out again. 75, January 12th, Karen Campbell, 23. March 15th, Julie Cunningham was 26. April 6th was Denise Alverson, and she was 25 years old. May 6th was Lynette Culver, 12 years old. June 28th was Susan Curtis.
And I forgot to write down
And
her
so
age.
you're fired. Yeah.
And then we're going to go to Florida.
Okay. So that's why there's a break in the year.
Yes.
78.
So 1978 now. Boom. Go. This is all on January 15th.
January 15th. My God. Elizabeth Bowman was 20. Lisa Kevy was 20. Karen Chandler. Oh. Bowman was 21. Lisa Levy's 20. Karen Chandler's 21. Kathy Kleiner was 21. Cheryl Thomas was 21. That was the sorority sisters. And then February 9th was Kimberly Leach at 12 years old. In 1978. And that's when Florida said, you're done, and fried him.
And so they ask him, one reporter is like, okay, well, if you are trying to do this bones for time. And when he found out that, like, the bones for time wasn't going to work, he was like, okay, I'll just admit to some shit. He didn't tell where the bodies were. But some of them he did. Some of them he was like, you guys found, like, I think a rib bone. So, like, be happy with your rib bone, but one of them was hers. They said, well, like, how many have you guys gotten to? And he's like, shit, I think so far it's like 25 or something like that. It was 30. His total was somewhere around like 30. And then expected to be what he told a guard. And, like, the guard says that this is, like, very nonchalant conversation between the two gentlemen, between the guard and Bundy.
Oh, yeah, they spent a lot of time together, I'm sure.
Yeah, that he told the guard that it was, like, 3 digits. He's like, shit, I'll take the 30, because, like, the real number's up in the 3 digits, son, so...
You guys have no idea.
So who knows, honestly, think about that. Between 1974, 1973, we'll give or take, because no one really knows when he actually started, so we'll go 73 for room. So 1973, picture that to 1975. Okay? And he's doing this at what they believe, before everything's connected, at 1 a month.
Yeah.
Okay? And how many unsolved to this day they are between then and then that could have been Bundy?
Probably like 100.
How insane. How sad.
He was busy.
Like, do families, would you just conclude that he did it? You know? If you have a loved one missing in that time frame, in those areas, in our area. Like,
yeah.
Does that come down to just good old Ted Bundy? Can you sit there and be like, yeah, my sister came up missing in the summer of 1974. Could it be? They've only found handfuls of his victims, unless you were left where he killed you. Meaning you're bad.
Because he couldn't get everybody to the same dumping site.
No.
That's impossible.
Yeah, no. Even the Sammamish, he didn't take them, you know? Like, I don't know.
It's surreal. It really is.
It really is. I don't think we will ever know his numbers.
But here's a curious question, because I thought everywhere, including Florida, don't they keep death row people on there for like 20 years before they execute them?
Dude, no, they weren't even playing around.
Anyways.
And Bundy thought he had time.
Yeah.
Like, he thought he did. But they moved that stuff so quick, and it was honestly mainly for the fact that they were like, because other states were coming and trying to get him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because there's Colorado, there's Utah,
and it was
Idaho,
like, well,
Washington.
we want him.
Yeah.
We want to come down to Florida and take him for this.
Yeah.
And Florida was like, I am not letting this guy leave the state of Florida.
Mine?
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it was. It was mine. And so they were like, okay, well, to get you guys to stop all this nonsense,
I guess we'll just get rid of him.
Guess what? Guess who got a death warrant for Tuesday? So, bye. And like I said, he did get 1 stay of execution. He did get 1 stay. And
when was he executed then?
On July 2nd of...
Was it the same February 78?
I don't think it was 70. I think it might have been 79, but... Hold on, Jean.
Just a year?
Jeez. I don't think it was that long. Hold on. We'll find out just momentarily. But, I don't know. My fascination with him really isn't as gross as everybody thinks it is.
You didn't marry him on court.
So, I
could have been
worse. Maybe 89, 85? Look it up. Look on your phone when his actual, like, I just know he was executed on the 2nd of July.
Again, folks, she has about 28.
Because I celebrate that day. So I don't.
To get personal cupcake from...
Oh, wait. I think I have it. I think I do. Yes, I do.
All right.
Oh, my. And I was wrong because he got his stay on July 2nd.
Oh, good.
Good God. January 24th, 1989 is when he was electrocuted at exactly 7:16 a.m. Bam. So I was wrong. I am a big Ted Bundy fan, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Eric's birthday. I have a friend named Eric whose birthday is July 2nd. Look it up on Facebook. I dare you. He's a real friend. He's a real friend. And he's in jail right now. So look it up. He doesn't care.
Sweet.
He's friend. But, so yeah, what they came away with was a total of 11 from Washington, 8 from Utah, 3 unidentified from Utah. Oh, and Washington also has 3 unidentified. 3 in Colorado, confirmed, and Florida, Oregon, these are additional bodies that they think.
Mm-hmm.
Additional 3 in Florida somewhere in there. The 2 in Idaho, the one that's unidentified, and 1 identified in California when he went to California on a governor's trip.
Oh shit, I forgot about Cali.
Yeah, they say that he says that there was only 1 in the upper part of California. So
you know, if you don't like Cali, you hate it. You either have to love Cali or hate it.
And I think at this time there was so much going on in Cali that he was like, I'll stay in my lane. Like, I'll kill up here, you guys kill down there. Let's bump hands and like not meet. I think that's what was happening at that point in time. Because, I mean, the dude wasn't done. He read the paper. So he was like, oh, wow, you'll get killed if you go to California?
Mm-hmm.
I'll stay here and I'll do it. Thanks. So, I think that's what happened. Is he just picked his territory and stuck to it.
Mm-hmm.
And chose his states. And we interweaved.
Yeah.
I just want to say that... Thank God I wasn't born back then. The world was fucking scary.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody says that this is scary times to live in. I can leave my home and not think I'm going to get raped and murdered because my hair is long and I part it down the middle. Like, I can't even imagine, or even the times in California. Like, I went from being able to suck a dick on Tuesday and not get killed for it, and by Thursday everybody's telling me I can't.
Yeah. Because
now I'll die. Like... I already know my job's hazardous, sir. Like, I can't even imagine. Oh, man. The women who lived through this shit. And then you got people like my mom, okay? And I'm thinking there's a lot of you out there that are born in, like, 69 or whatever. And you're like, I could have been a victim. You were still at the playground.
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought about the other stuff. Like, were you scared of OJ? Did you not want to date a guy named after Juices? You know? Don't come at me and be like, I lived through the Ted Bundy era. Nice and sweet in your toddler bed.
Yeah.
You didn't live through it.
Where were you during 9/11? It's one of those.
At school.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people my mom's age were like, oh, it was so scary. Because your mom told you? Like, you don't remember. You were an infant. Jesus. My mom wasn't an infant, obviously, in 74. She was born in 69. But, like, you know. You know. Didn't survive it. Anywho. But, yeah. So, that's my version of Ted Bundy.
That is her version
Long.
of Ted fucking Bundy.
Almost 3 hours.
Lord. Yeah.
I heart him. I mourn him. I'm sorry he did what he did. On behalf of him, I apologize. And no, I don't have dirty dreams like he says that or anything. But, you know, that's my Ted Bundy. And so far, no one hates me.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, bitch, I secretly wanted to bone him too.
Yeah.
So far, I just found out
agreeing.
everybody's fucking kinky.
Yeah.
So I'm just loving it. I love it. A bunch of dudes listen. I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to bone him. But, like, think if you could. You would. Kind of. So, anyhow, follow us on Twitter at It Is What It Is 2OH because that's where we are from. On Instagram at It Is What It Is Pod 19. All one word. That's all smushed together. No spaces. On Facebook at It Is What It Is a true crime podcast. La la la. If you look up myself or Jean, you will also find links to said page.
Yeah.
You can email us, which none of you guys do, which I'm actually super sad. We could have some really weird conversations because I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. We could be weird and do internet creepy stuff, but you won't. Email me at itiswhatitis pod19@gmail.com. Yeah, and we'll see you on Sunday for
A short one.
A short one. No, it will be short.
I'm playing.
My friend Hadley tagged me and stuff, and she's my ride or die bitch forever hardcore.
Yeah.
She's my cute little blonde. She tagged me in a show that I watched, and I can't get it out of my head because it's just weird. And sometimes it's really about who you know, if you can get away with murder or not.
Oh,
if you know the right people, you can make some shady shit happen. And nobody ever does a damn thing because you live in a small town and everybody's scared of somebody. And it's legit. And I want to go to that town. So we'll talk about them.
I'm up for a road trip.
Oh, it's really far. I think it's
So?
in okay.
Is it in Minnesota?
No, probably Florida. Who
Oh.
fucking knows? Florida, I don't know. You guys have a bunch of crazy
I've
shit.
been there. It's the heat.
Ugh. But yeah, anyway, check us out. Listen to us. Tell us what you think. Share us. Like us. Sorry, there was a couple coughs, you guys, but she's fine. Don't hate her. If I hear one more thing about her coughs, I swear to God.
I thought I've been doing
Dude,
pretty
you've been
fucking
amazing.
good.
But I do want to point it out that we
It was
do
a
know that you
long
coughed.
one, though.
And it's super long. And if you guys keep complaining, I might just have to make Jean vanish and disappear and go boof, and then we'll never know. So stop it. And have a good day. Stay inside. Wash your hands, right? And that's the only thing so far, right? Is wash your hands.
6 feet.
Oh, stay 6 feet. No shaking hands. No huggings. You elbows. Jean does it to my 2-year-old.
Yeah, apparently well, you're not supposed to hug, but
Yeah.
apparently we've been cleaning wrong because you have to clean and then sanitize, like you spray it and then let it just dry and dissipate after
Anyhow,
you clean it.
you guys, I have one working leg. My house is not sanitized.
Oh, mine's not either.
You'll get the
Yeah.
you'll get the shit if
It's
you come here. Not the shits, but the corona. I'm just kidding.
Another
Only 2
vaccine.
people come outside of my house and go and work, and that's my brother and my husband.
And me.
And Jean is the only outsider besides my mom and my sister, because my sister brings me sodas, and my mom watches my kids while I sit in this room, as you guys might hear them from time to time.
So I have 10,000 witnesses
Yeah.
because it wasn't my fault.
No.
Okay?
No,
Right. So
there's
if
like
there is
5
a positive
people.
test among anybody, it's not my
Yeah.
fault. And if it
There's
is my
5
fault,
people.
I'm really sorry. So if I disappear, y'all know what happened.
She had corona and I killed
Yeah.
the bitch. Bottom line to it. All right, we'll check you guys out.